You're tuned into SEC Sunday Night, part of the Chief Sports Network.
The red button.
Whenever you're ready, Who's.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 137, Sport Geniuses podcast. This is Who's. I got Casey, Courtney, MBG. As y'all know, the MBG podcast is considered a true innovator in the podcast world. I don't think any podcast ever thought about having four people sit around and talk about sports before us. We're the first ones to do it. So in that spirit, we're going to try something new this week. We're going to have our first ever MBG podcast crossover show. So joining us tonight for the whole show are Rob Williams and Craig McMichael, co-hosts of SEC Sunday Night, which you can catch live every Sunday evening on Chief Sports Network. So Rob and Craig, how y'all doing tonight?
Yeah, boys.
Thank you so much for having us, guys. We love obviously listening every week. Y'all been on our show at least once or twice in some versions. Really excited to chat with you guys tonight.
We need to bring a little bit more
Almost
energy.
Everybody's
Craig.
been on our show, right? Almost everybody. We're still in search of having Courtney on at some point. So we'll see.
She doesn't.
Wait a second. No.
But that's true. I was out that night, wasn't I?
To be fair, the key for
Okay.
Courtney coming on is you have to be off. So Courtney will be on. We talked a lot of Auburn. We talked a lot of Tennessee. We got to have her back on to talk about what is that team you root for?
I root for the SEC. Clearly, I actually changed my shirt so that I would not be partial during this live video experience.
Just like the Rob Lowe wearing the NFL hat. Is that what you're doing right now?
That's what I'm doing. Look, it's SEC Sunday Night.
We're just lucky he has a shirt on because any chance he
Fair
gets,
point.
he's popping that top and he's
That's
like,
fair point.
Link if
Well,
appreciate that.
Why don't y'all tell us about your podcast or your show a little bit before we get started here?
You
Go
want me to
ahead.
take it? Sure.
yeah,
of
go ahead,
course.
Mr. Host.
Yeah, so SEC Sunday Night is every Sunday at 8 on the Chief Sports Network, as Who said. And Craig and I actually started writing for a platform called Last Word on Sports several years ago and just met that way. I slid into his DMs to ask about his views on Georgia, South Carolina, and the rest is history. So it kind of took off from there. We started a little show called It Just Means More Football and Coffee, where we were looking to create a diner-like kind of environment where guys are sitting around sipping on their coffee, getting ready to talk ball. And that has kind of snowballed into where we are today. And we really just want to have a casual conversation for the serious sports fan. There's a prerequisite to get in the door, right? Like we want people to actually care about the game, but just like you guys here, we don't have to always take it so seriously. There's news and analysis and breakdown that we're going to do. We're going to have quality, informative guests that are coming in, but we have a segment every week called It Just Means More Genius, where Casey is there to read the boards that MBG provides, and we have a good time just kind of winding down and getting a good laugh out of the most passionate fan bases across the SEC and sometimes nationally. Sometimes it's too good to pass up and we go outside the league. So we appreciate those of you who are not in the greatest conference in college football as well.
All right, you guys ready to wrap this one up now?
Yeah, that was way more SEC talk than we ever wanted or needed for that.
It just means more. It just means more, guys. We have to talk about it. 5 teams out of 12. We have to talk about it.
It just
Well,
means
that's where we're
more
going.
conference games. You know, they have 9 conference games. Did you see that silly ACC transition period that we got? I'm sure we'll talk about that later. But
I feel like there's math there, and I think Casey, you're gonna have to go to some new conference because we know math is not your strong suit. So like we're gonna have to do something different with that one. So
Well, I'm sure it's not going to be any controversy when you've got one team that's like 8-1 next year and another team that's 7-1 in the ACC. That's not
Yeah,
going
no,
to
They have tiebreakers figured out so well. I'm sure they have a plan for
right,
it.
right.
and Jim Phillips, we trust.
Yeah, we're on the cutting edge of creating new and exciting problems. See, We'll see if we can do it again next year. All right, so we have all kinds of bowl games going on over the next several days. We got the Xbox Bowl, the Myrtle Beach Bowl, of course, the famous Idaho Potato Bowl next Monday, featuring MBG's Utah State Aggies. But of course, main attraction is week 1 of the college football playoff, which kicks off Friday evening with number 9 Alabama visiting number 8 Oklahoma. We talked about this a little bit last week, but what do y'all think about this matchup here?
I'm so excited to play Oklahoma again.
Why was it bad before?
Like, not just the last time, the time before that, too. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like there's going to be several toaster baths in my future on Friday. I do think that we can win. We lost by 2, and we gifted them. Like, we had 3 little nicely wrapped presents that we handed them, and we still kept it close. So, I feel like we can win, but I don't want to say we're going to win.
So being a Georgia fan, and we actually beat Alabama for once. I don't know what stars aligned. My advice to you is to do everything that Ohio State didn't do in the Big Ten championship, and just be Alabama and out athlete Oklahoma. You have a great quarterback, you have great receivers, and just go play. If you don't turn that ball over, and then obviously don't kick any field goals, because that's a toaster bath waiting to happen. So yeah. To me, like that's going to be all set. And I don't know if you guys saw this week, but John Mateer, who I think won like the week 3 Heisman, was shown doing a drill, and he tripped over a bag. So Courtney, I think you're going to be just fine. I think we can avoid the toaster baths for at least another week.
Yeah, spoiler, we're both on the Alabama train this week. This will be the first time. Actually, we said it Sunday night. So we can go ahead and let the cat out of the bag that we both think Alabama's going to win this game. For me, kind of the X factor is going to be R. Mason Thomas coming back. Obviously, can Alabama protect Ty Simpson? Is there any semblance of a running game to kind of back off those pass rushers? Because if that's the case, I think ultimately the Bama receivers can get loose on this Oklahoma secondary, but the front 7 for the Sooner defense is kind of the issue. The matchup is really between Venables and Grubb, and to a degree, Venables and Ty Simpson directly, because if he can confuse him and gets a free rusher, then you may end up handing him another one of those nicely wrapped presents.
That's more analysis than we've had on this show ever. And we're only 7 minutes in.
And nobody even cussed yet. I mean, this is crazy.
This is weird.
Wait, we can cuss?
My main question is, how in the world is it fair for 2 SEC teams to have to play each other in the first round?
Amen. Thank you for
Set
the
up to
ACC
make
slam.
sure.
Thanks, Suze.
Yeah, you should be able to make sure as many SEC teams advance as possible. Fair.
Listen, we got 3 home games, Suze. What more do you want? I mean, we got 4 teams. We did the best that we could. We're trying to give the little guy like Oregon an opportunity here. So, we're trying to spread the love. We're trying to be a little bit more equal and a little more friendly.
Yeah, I don't believe that for a second.
Somebody tell Emily that he just called Oregon the little guy.
Oh, well, she listens religiously, so she'll hear it.
Did you just say eco-friendly?
I did say eco-friendly. It's Oregon, so you got to be friendly.
How granola of you, Craig. That was a great move.
Does anyone think Oklahoma has a shot in this one?
I do.
They got a shot.
I mean, look, their defense is so good. I mean, you talked about what you think it's a matchup between Venables and Grubb, or Venables and Ty Simpson.
Mm-hmm.
I take Venables 9 times out of 10 in those matchups. If that's truly the matchup from a defensive perspective.
You hit fireworks and mini golf. We can't take you serious.
I mean, it's tough to beat a team that's as good defensively as Oklahoma. I mean,
Well, and Alabama hasn't really been clicking on all cylinders on offense either. I mean, if they're out of sync, against Oklahoma, I think Oklahoma definitely can win. It's just going to depend on how well they play on offense, I think.
Yeah, that's the problem. If Alabama stumbles a little bit, Oklahoma's not necessarily going to put up 30 and then have Alabama have to come back. That's the only issue I see. I think everybody's right there. I think Oklahoma's got a really good shot at this, because I'm a creature of recency bias, and what I've seen Alabama put out the last 2 weeks, woof.
You look at, they dropped 2 of their last 4 games, and I think the only thing I would counter that Brent Venables defense, if Alabama had any semblance of a running game, which they really don't, Courtney will agree. I would agree with you. I think Oklahoma is the superior. But if you look at Oklahoma's secondary, I think they have been exposed. If I may, my boy Arch did carve them up in the second half of the Red River rivalry and kind of make that game go crooked. So to me, if Ty Simpson and that 16-year-old, whatever his name is, Ryan Williams, get on track, I think the Tide could win this one big.
Well,
Does
your other boy, former boy, I guess I should say, in Lane Kiffin, who you no longer claim as your
We
boy,
will not talk about him anymore.
also carved them at times. There was a couple moments against Ole Miss where receivers got completely behind the defense. So, the flip side of it is something that we haven't mentioned, though, is what is Mateer going to do? And other than trip over a bag on video in the middle of the week, right? He makes incredible plays at times, and then he makes boneheaded plays at times. And I think that's a little bit unpredictable. What is he going to do? If he gets outside of the pocket, he may do something that takes your breath away, or he may just throw a lame duck up in the air that's a gift as well. So you don't really know. That one's kind of unpredictable for me.
And I think our defense has played really well. So, I mean, I don't think they're an issue. And I think that, we have I think we have like 5 or 6 people out. Our tight end, Cuevas, he's probable, I think.
What's DeBoer's status? What's DeBoer's status? Is he in Ann Arbor? Or is he gonna be in Norman?
Right. That is so crazy. It's like, first of all, why would anybody be like, oh yeah, that sounds really good to go jump into that mess? Like, no.
They talk
I'm
about
good
that
right
later
now.
too.
The fans if I lose, the fans may be like, boo, we want him fired. But you know what? We'll recover.
Be okay.
Dabo to Tuscaloosa.
Please, God, no.
Confirmed. I
Did
said
you see what he said
confirmed.
this week, Casey? He said that they are going to do things the right way and not work the portal until it's open.
He is
Correct.
just operative word. He
And then Shane Beamer
he
will
also
end up.
he also used to send
Why
Jeff
am I
Scott
catching
to do
strays,
his
Craig?
dirty work. Just so you know, I know some high school coaches in this state. Let's just say Dabo.
Me and you both.
Back on the rails. Who's
All right. So I was going to go into my question about whether Ryan Williams has flippers for hands, because I was reading about his drop rate, this historic drop rate the other day, but we're already off the rails. So I'll just move on to our next game here. So Saturday at noon, I'll do them in order here. Saturday at noon, we got number 10 Miami at number 7 A&M. Miami, of course, gifted their entrance into the CFP after we choked away our game against Duke. Don't have any feel for this game at all. I think a lot of it depends on how Beck plays, but that's kind of Miami's deal in every game. I still think it's odd that A&M dropped all the way to 7. They kind of got a raw deal because 1 through 6, you're getting a pretty good, an easy matchup or a bye. And then at 7, you've got to play a real team. So, I don't know. How are y'all feeling about this one?
what's the line there? Who's do you know? Texas A&M minus 3.5. So it's literally almost a pick 'em.
Yeah, pretty much. They're getting 3 for being at home. Yeah.
Wow. What does Vegas know?
These are 2 teams that nobody can trust. Nobody can trust either of these 2 teams
That's it.
or these coaches.
No. And I think that's the biggest problem. Like, you look at Cristobal, who just makes some just boneheaded moves. He has given away more games in the last couple of years, especially at Miami. He's given a couple away at Oregon. But my biggest question for this game, and I'm going to ask Courtney this question: when is the last time Carson Beck actually won a game that mattered? And this is I've covered Georgia now for 3 years, and in the biggest moments, Carson Beck has shrank. I can think of a couple of times in Tuscaloosa, in Atlanta, playing Alabama, where he just throws some just awful interceptions. But I look at that and I go back to what MBG said. What has Texas A&M done? I mean, they were down 31-3 to South Carolina and somehow had a miraculous comeback. But like, they haven't beat anybody with a pulse since I think like week 3. So I have no idea what to expect. I think, to be honest, I'm going to be looking at the Texas A&M police Twitter account, because that's going to be a hell of a lot more entertaining than whatever chaos is going on in that
That's
field.
one of the best accounts on Twitter. The one they posted about the guy who was hammered and talking to a wall was one of the funniest things I've ever read.
I love
You guys
it.
got to have him on.
When they end stuff, they're like ejected or arrested.
I mean, I totally been
Released
that
to-
guy at a UVA game before, so I could feel for that guy.
I got kicked out of Auburn. I mean, yeah, I get it.
Released to sober wife. That's what you're about to say, Casey? That's always
No.
the best ending.
Yeah, that is the best.
That's
thing.
always the best ending.
Not
Because
for
I'm
that guy.
thinking about my wife. I know. That's exactly right. I'm thinking about my wife. The eyes alone that she would have, such disappointment.
Disappointment. The
Might as well just take you to jail.
Yeah, I'll just go. I'll just go to jail. I will bypass sober wife.
Yeah, I don't want to go home to her.
I'm excited for the Yell leaders, though. I mean, I'm excited for what kind of cheers. I'm sure Yell practice has been, really hyped this week. I've not seen enough there. So, like what sort of fancy moves and what sort of, fancy stuff they've got going on.
Probably have
Have you-
the big routine.
Have y'all ever
Plans.
been to a midnight yell?
Yes.
No,
I want to go so bad. It's so
Yeah,
weird.
That's a good point, actually.
A lot of fun.
The clash in styles between Texas A&M fans and Miami fans is one of the more fascinating matchups going on this weekend. Because I don't know if Craig and Rob, if y'all have much reason to interact with Miami fans, but they can't fill their stadium, but on Twitter they are wild as hell. And I don't know. I don't see them meshing very well with the Yell leaders for some reason. That seems
No.
like some kind of
No.
culture clash there.
Not at all. And
If they
I
go.
think it feeds into the nature of this game, right? Like all the way down to the fans. This thing is absolutely unpredictable, and that's the one thing we've said all along is that it has the most variables, and there's no way to pin down like which variable is going to be the one that determines the game because everything about both teams has been Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, this is the most chaotic game of the weekend by far, which is usually
I'm
my favorite.
So excited. Yes.
Yeah, some weird shit's going to happen in this game.
Malachi Tony's an absolute stud for Miami. So if they can just get the ball in his hands. And also a thing that I found interesting watching, I don't know why, but I found myself watching a lot of A&M this year. They never mention where that they say Casey Concepcion is a transfer, but they never tell you where he transferred from. And I don't know if that's on purpose, but they literally will say the other guy came from Mississippi State or wherever he was an SEC transfer, but they never say where Concepcion came from, which I always found interesting. Maybe
We're
it's
not
just
worth
me reading
mentioning.
into
He
point.
came from an FCS school or something.
no respect.
If he
No
came from an FCS school, they would mention it because then it would be a story.
That would be a heck of a story, yeah.
Yep. Then it would be Cinderella.
All right, so next game we have it's a rematch from earlier in the season at 3:30 on Saturday. We got number 11 Tulane at number 6 Ole Miss. So, I mean, this one was a blowout earlier this year. I think it's going to be closer this time. I don't know if Tulane has the horses to keep up with them, but I think they're going to give them a better game than they did last time.
I think so.
It's the Our Coaches Left Us Bowl, right?
Yep.
Somewhere
kind
else
of
still
a
there.
good
He's
story.
working 2 phones. He's sleeping 2 hours a day. I read some article about that. Like he's just excited. I mean,
They
totally
give
locked
money
in.
to their NIL.
Great. I just wish I was in Oxford and that I was in the Grove
You're
because
supposed to be.
That's
supposed to be.
true. That's
Hey,
true.
Listen, if we keep speaking into existence, at some
This is
point,
now-
probably when I have a full head of gray hair,
Dude,
actually
we said that.
yeah, we have said that. But that to me, and this is where I go on my rant. Oxford, Mississippi is projected to make some $76 million this year for hosting that playoff game. So I think it's going to be an electric atmosphere. The Grove is probably the best place to go. But in this one, I think Trinidad Chambliss probably goes all in and probably knocks out Tulane and sends Summerall to Gainesville.
I think Tulane covers. Give me like a 10-point game.
What's the
Yeah, I
score
say closer. I don't think it's going to
17
be
and a
30.
half.
Yeah, I think, what is it now? What's 17 a week ago? I don't know what it is now.
17 and a half, yeah. 17 and a half, Ole Miss.
Still not the biggest spread of the weekend though.
No, that's the next one. So 7:30 Saturday, we got number 12 JMU at number 5 Oregon. So a Virginia school did make the playoff, unfortunately. And it's been killing me because everybody has loved JMU fans on Twitter and they are annoying as shit.
Just one. Just one JMU fan is everyone's loving. They're
Well,
doing
no,
a
but-
great job.
Yeah,
That
that guy, the
podcast
funny thing is
account?
that guy used to cover UVA. One of the guys who runs that account.
That is
They-
a ass account.
Do they call James Madison like backup you or something?
Just missed UVA is what people say it stands for.
I didn't get in there and I really wanted to go there, so there you go.
And I liked it. My stepsister went there, so I actually like the school. But it's just,
It's
they're
right off 81.
yeah.
Right there.
I saw something today. This is pretty crazy. And again, anything I read on the internet, I just assume is true. So take this with a grain of
Fair.
salt. But somebody said that they did some kind of FOIA request. Anyway, it's on Twitter. Guy said that Oregon's defensive coordinator makes more money than JMU's head coach and JMU's entire roster combined.
Nice.
I could see it.
Yeah. So if JMU can hang in this one at all, that would be insane. I don't see it happening, but
No.
I might have said this last week, but I hate that this is the year that two G5s got in, because neither of these two G5 schools are good enough to win a game. And in years past, there have been multiple G5 schools who I think would have been good enough to win these games. And so everyone's going to walk away from this with reaffirming their own belief that the G5 schools shouldn't be in this and can't compete. But I don't think that this year is that you can really draw a fair conclusion based on the two teams that are in there.
Isn't that what
last year with Boise? You felt a little better. I don't know, maybe because they had Genty on their team.
Like, I also think like isn't that when we get chaos? Because we think about if we think about the college football slates during the year, and we have like what's going to be a boring week or something that's going to be a bit of a snooze fest. Isn't that when we get the chaos? So like, one, I don't think that's going to happen, but like, maybe you're trying to get that, but I'm also like wondering, why is Texas A&M and Miami not that Saturday night game? Why is that the noon game? Like,
it's a little weird. I agree.
Yeah. These G5 games should be early.
West Coast.
I'm guessing ESPN got the first pick of games, and they obviously wanted that game and let TNT have the other two, is my guess.
T?
It's also on HBO Max.
Stop it.
Yeah, the other two.
We can't all be on the CW.
Right. It's elite territory to go between Gilmore Girls and One Tree Hill.
Exactly.
Hell yeah.
You know what's up.
Hey, the SEC used to have the CW as well. They had the noon game or 12:30 game, and ACC had the 12 o'clock game.
That was before I was born. Sorry.
2010.
You don't remember Mike Hogwood?
Oh, Mike Hogwood. That's a name. We should do a whole episode where we just name guys like that.
We did.
No
It was
other
a Duke
content.
basketball team.
I'm so glad you said it, Rob, because I'm usually the one that says it. I'm like, you guys are so old.
It's not you guys. He's a
Greg has
youngin'.
this bit that I'm like 16. So, and I can't escape it no matter where we go. He went at me on Twitter because he thinks I'm too young to be included in any conversation around The Godfather. So anytime that comes up, I can't be included.
Foreshadowing.
Start a rumor that, you know how they talk about Ryan Williams? Like, he's only 17. We'd be like, Rob's only 16.
He looks
Well,
like
I made the mistake a while back.
today.
They're getting ready to play Virginia Tech. I posted something that said, when I was in undergrad and law school, we won 5 out of the 7 games and didn't even think that people would be able to figure out how old I was based on that. I got so many responses like, "Oh, you're doing pretty good on Twitter.
Good job, Greg.
Bless your heart."
Bless your heart.
We're thankful you're able to figure it out. Who's
It's I can figure out some things.
You should see him and the Wi-Fi go at it.
Oh my God. Yeah.
there's no better rivalry. It's better than Army Navy. It's better than UVA.
It's much more heated.
100%.
But it doesn't win as much as Virginia.
Well, I'd say it's pretty even. We both get a win like every 20 times. So, all right. So obviously we'll recap these games next week, and then the next round, regardless of what happens this weekend, the next round is going to be super fun. So up next, we thought it'd be fun to do a draft since we've got Rob and Craig with us tonight. It's been a while. A few weeks ago, we did a draft of our worst Thanksgiving foods. And my selection of Jell-O salad, canned cranberry sauce, ambrosia salad, and rolls. I almost lost it with rolls, but ended up winning with 39% of the vote. So this week, we're going to stay in a holiday mode and do a draft for our favorite Christmas movies. And since Casey and MBG usually are ill-equipped to handle the draft, we thought we would give them a little help. So I think Craig and Casey are going to team up, and Rob and MBG. Do I have that right?
you do?
Yeah. Don't screw this up for me, Rob.
No worries. No
He'll
worries.
put it for himself.
All right, y'all ready to hear where you're picking?
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right, so pick 1 is MBG and Rob.
Dang.
Look at this.
Cheaters.
Pick 2 is Casey and Craig. Apparently
Yes.
the fifth is in here. I got the third pick, and then Courtney gets a wraparound.
Yeah, you do. Who doesn't, really?
Right?
Picks?
All right, y'all. So who's the 1.1 pick of Christmas movies here?
I'm going to go first because I can't screw this one up going first, right? There's no possible way that I could screw this up.
Yes, there is.
So there's only one clear choice, and I think everybody would agree with this, and that's Christmas Vacation.
Absolutely. I agree with you. I
That's
think it's the movie of all time, not just Christmas movie.
Wow.
That's like the Cooper flag of this draft right here. in
Oh,
my
God.
mind.
Yeah.
Why don't you Yeah,
Ron Harper
really.
Jr. is better, but that's
Bull City, baby.
So the scene where Cousin Eddie, I don't know why, it gets me every time. I've seen it probably 20 times. When he's wearing the white sweater with the black dickie underneath the sweater.
Yep.
They're
It's
drinking
like
eggnog out of the moose cups. I'm
Yes.
drinking eggnog right now, but it's not in a moose cup. But I can sort of relate. We'll see.
The best part,
This is actually a white dickie. It's not a real. It's not a real T-shirt.
the best part of that scene is when he goes to wrestling.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's so good.
Is this the first time
All
you've
right,
ever said
MBG,
Dickie on the
you
show?
didn't lose the pick with your first, lose the draft with your first pick. So that's always the most important thing there. All right, so Casey and Craig, who you got?
challenge accepted. Who's? No, actually, I'm going serious. I'm going serious. Craig and I kind of came to a consensus on this. We're going at 1.2. We're going with Love Actually. In my opinion, there's no better Christmas movie around. Yes, I'm a softie. Sorry, I know I just won the drafts. I'm sorry about that. But I'm so confident that I may just let Craig maybe do the rest because I just
feel
want.
it in my fingers.
Yeah,
I
perfect.
feel
Look.
it in my toes.
I've never even seen that movie. I can tell by the name of that movie that I have no need to see that movie.
No, we need your review next week because I think you'll be a changed man. You'll be like, I am blind, but now I see.
It'll
Look,
only be on about 714 times between now and next week.
If
I
you
don't know what it's about, but I can tell by the name that it's dumb.
If
I
you
was about to
don't,
say,
I'm not
he
watching.
can
If you
give you
don't
his
watch it
review
next week-
without watching it because his review is exactly what he just said.
do not watch it by the time we record again, I'm gonna call ICE and tell them to deport you.
That's un-American, right, Courtney?
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Surely an American wouldn't say some shit like that.
MBG, it's not on my list. So I'm with you.
That's common. That's a common thing, though. None of my picks are usually on your list.
Usually not, no.
And there's
And who wins usually?
Not
Mm.
either of you two.
All right, so I know my pick it can be a little divisive. Some people hate this movie, but it's a movie that I watch with my kids every year. And to me, there are basically like 5 really good Christmas movies that we watch, and Elf is one of those. So Christmas Vacation is one, Elf is another. You Sit on a Throne of Lies is one of the greatest quotes in movie history. It makes me laugh every single time. That and He's an Angry Elf. Those 2 lines just absolutely kill me every year.
That was
The elf, what's your favorite color?
just on in my house.
Yeah, we just watched it like 2 daes ago.
One of my favorite Christmas movies.
Yeah.
It's a good one. Not as good as ours, but it's good.
It's like second best.
It's like the best.
All right, Courtney, you got 2 here.
Okay, so my first one is going to be Home Alone, but Home Alone 2, because Home Alone 2 is better than Home Alone 1. And if you don't think so, I will fight you.
Wait, so did you pick Home Alone 2?
I picked Home Alone 2. Yes.
Okay.
She's got another pick though. Don't worry.
I do.
Now, can I just point something out about Home Alone 2? What I love about that movie, that there's this scene where the tone is totally different from the rest of the movie, where Kevin is talking to his dad, I think, about like Uncle Frank told him not to bother him when he's in the shower. And he said, if I went in there and saw him naked, I'd grow up never feeling like a real man. That's a weird fucking quote in Home Alone 2. And then he goes in there and Uncle Frank says, "Get out of here, you nosy little pervert, or I'm going to slap you silly." Like, what? It's like from a completely different movie. That whole
He recorded that and then used it at the time.
Anyway, sorry to derail things, but
No,
that just
no, it was
Casey
good.
knows how much I love awkward stuff. That just every
Yes.
time I watch that movie, that kills me.
So good. So my next one is going to be Bad Santa, because who
Billy
doesn't
Bob.
love a Christmas movie with Billy Bob Thornton? I mean, fantastic. And just how he's like talks to the kid, and the kid just is like so happy all the time, even though he's talking to him like shit. It's fantastic. It's hilarious.
I love me some Billy Bob Thornton.
I do
Good
too.
picks.
Lamb Man,
I was about to say he could be in his best role ever right now.
fantastic. I love it. I can't get enough of it.
Swing blade.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm abandoning my list. I'm just going to pick stuff I like and not try to win for once. So I'm going with Trading Places. Are you guys old enough to have seen that movie?
No.
Rob doesn't know
Yes.
what you're talking about, MBG.
Eddie Murphy.
So this is all you need to know. It's Eddie Murphy at the peak of his powers, and also Jamie Lee Curtis's tits at the peak of their powers.
I've seen it. Hey,
Kevin.
Casey, you can bleep that. I can't say boobs. Sorry.
Yeah, that's a weird word, isn't it?
It just sounds dumb. Yeah.
Yeah. weird.
All right, Casey, what do you got?
Well, it's our
Well,
turn. Craig,
yeah, it's
Craig, you want to take this one?
Yeah, I'm ready. At number 2, I'm so glad that
I
Courtney
trust
didn't
you.
take this one. I'm going with American Psycho. Well,
I know what they're doing.
absolutely does have some Christmas scenes. It's totally unhinged as possible. You think about it, we've got holiday parties, Christmas music, seasonal cheer, all wrapped around Patrick Bateman's cold corporate serial killer chaos. Festive, but a little terrifying. So American Psycho, obviously a great Christmas movie.
I agree completely. Heartwarming almost.
Love Actually and
You
American
two are all
Psycho
over
is-
the board on this.
Yeah,
thing,
that's
man.
quite the double feature there.
We want to win, okay?
Just wait, guys. I can see exactly where this is headed.
What?
What are you talking about? You think we coordinated this? We didn't talk about any of this.
The text
One
that
and
you
one.
sent me that said something about scheming says otherwise.
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, can we move on? Is it
Never
my
met
turn?
Craig, yes.
All right, so MBG and Rob, y'all have 2 picks here.
How did we not do this already? Okay, this movie is played for 24 hours straight for a reason. A Christmas Story. This has to be on the list. You'll shoot your eye out, kid, is one of the most iconic lines. I can drive through the neighborhood right now and I will see 7 leg lamps on display in people's attic window. I'm not kidding.
Do you live in
This
Cleveland?
has to go. It has
Come
to go on
man,
the list.
man.
I'm doing A Christmas Story.
I'm going to confess something here.
Oh, don't do it. Don't do
Yeah,
it.
I've never watched it all the way through.
It was a staple like Christmas Eve at my grandma's house. Like it was
Me
me,
too,
my
dude.
brother, my cousins always watching that and then getting yelled at by my aunt because we started like horsing around. So that's one near and dear to my heart. So way to tug the old heartstrings there, Robbie.
Me too. Me too.
Hey, yeah, me too.
See that?
At my grandma's
That-
house, that was it.
That's why I needed Rob, because I would not have picked that, but that's a winner pick. So good job, Rob.
No, American Psycho.
See how that rhymes? I was made to do a good job.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Me.
Yeah,
Back and wrap around for me.
round for you.
Well, I'm going to pick not only the best Christmas movie of all time, but probably the best movie of all time. We've talked about this before, but Step Brothers, which is a Christmas movie, by the way.
So much room
So
for
Step
activity.
Brothers,
I am
exactly.
trying to think of a way to argue out of that because I'm pissed that I didn't think of it, MBG.
And we should have known that with MBG. Like he said it for like he's done that for like worst Christmas sweater ideas. He said Step Brothers. So
The greatest movies of all
By far
time.
one of my favorite one-liner movies ever.
There's-
So many good ones. Way too many to even.
I mean, I could
name,
rattle
but-
off like 20 off the top of my
Yeah.
head.
Yeah.
Okay,
let my
give us your
kids
best
watch that
one.
when they were like
The
11,
best one?
I think. It was one of the poorer parenting decisions that I made so far.
No,
Uh,
you did right. You were good. You were good.
Yeah, up until he put his nutsack on the drums. That was a little rough.
You gotta learn sometime, I guess.
My favorite line, I guess, would be "This house is a prison on planet bullshit in the galaxy of this sucks camel dick." I mean,
we've
I-
definitely talked about this.
Why are you so sweaty? I was watching Cops.
I was watching Collab. So good.
So good.
All right, Casey and Craig.
Craig, I got this one because I'm going with my second favorite movie ever. I'm going to go with Batman Returns.
Yes.
Full on
Okay.
Christmas movie, snow everywhere, tree lighting ceremonies, Gotham at its coldest, and somehow it makes Penguin, Catwoman, and Chaos feel just so extra festive. It's dark, it's weird, and extremely Christmas coded.
I had
Self-
nightmares about this DeVito penguin as a child.
3 for 3.
Right?
Like, seriously. Now, I'm not that's not a joke.
It's not a
Eli Manning, Danny DeVito, Jersey Mike's commercials.
Those
I
are
have,
weird.
I have Eli nightmares because I'm a Patriots fan, not because he
Oh.
teamed up with DeVito.
Helmet catch. Do you
Jersey
remember that
Mike's
one, or did you watch
not
the
a sponsor.
Did you watch the rerun of that helmet catch, or were you old enough to see that one?
No, I still wasn't born yet.
All right, so this is why you can't let me do stuff like this. So I get Die Hard in the third round.
Looking like it.
Come on, man! It's one of the greatest Christmas movies ever. Now I have a machine gun. Ho ho ho! Come on, I just won. Sorry, guys.
I get one more.
That's
pick.
so divisive that, yeah, you might have.
God, there's so many on my list. I don't even know what to pick now because I didn't even put them in order. Okay, so I am gonna have to go with. I'm gonna go off the rails too, and I'm gonna go with Edward Scissorhands. It's definitely a Christmas movie because at the end, whenever when he's doing his thing with his like claws, whatever they are,
Scissors.
his fingers, the scissor fingers,
No,
whatever it
that's
is.
Edward Lobster Hands. I think that's a different movie. Courtney.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, it's telling the story of how it snows on Christmas, and that's where it comes from. Is him up in his castle, his scissor castle. That sounds really.
I was gonna say, is it-
I saw a report today. There was a certain website that
Yeah.
had a data leak. That was that where that came from.
Yes, that's where that came from.
That's where the Scissor Castle is.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be talking about the scissors.
I have so
Scissors
many
now.
jokes that I am not making right now.
From what I've been
Probably
told.
good.
And shit, y'all, I don't know.
So
Okay,
good.
I'm gonna go with Deck the Halls. And have y'all ever seen it? It's fantastic.
It's a
You-
song, isn't it?
Yes, but it's
How's it
Matthew Broderick and
Ooh.
Danny DeVito. And it's where they have this battle back and forth about decorating their house.
Sounds
and Danny
riveting.
DeVito's like the,
I've seen it.
yeah, like middle class dad, like real happy go lucky. And Matthew Broderick is not. He's like the uppity person and does not like Danny DeVito.
Sounds dumb.
Thank you.
No, that sounds dumb.
You sound dumb.
The timing on your "that's dumb" or "sounds dumb" comments is
It's always good.
just comedy gold every single time.
It's like the Whitney Houston drum meme. It's just perfectly timed,
It
perfectly.
It
Every
kills
time.
me every single time because I don't see
I'm
it
gonna-
coming usually.
I'm going to take your little avatar over there and I'm going to crop it a little bit and I'm going to tell everybody you're just a Utah fan.
There
I
is.
still don't know what the hell this movie
That's
is.
beautiful.
Did this go to VHS?
Probably it was. So good. Anytime it's on TV, I watch it. It's so funny.
Rob, do you know what VHS is?
No, he's 16.
What are you
So when
talking
I
about?
worked at Blockbuster Video, and that's absolutely 100% true. I didn't put it on my LinkedIn, but I really probably should have. They used to
worked at
give us
what?
movies based on Blockbuster Video. It was a place
doesn't know what
before
that
they
is.
had the red box and before Netflix actually sent you DVDs.
He's so confused right now. He's Googling.
But they used to give you the VHS tapes based on like the box office success. Granted, I think Deck the Halls had one. I know that was a lot of story for
Yeah,
not
it
a
just
great,
ended so quickly.
not a good payoff.
Just waiting for it and just like,
Yeah, the
That
punchline
plane-
just snuck up
Can
on
you-
me.
Like a soundbite of a rim shot or something on that.
All right, so I got one more here. I'm gonna tell you my least favorite Christmas movie, so I'm not picking this one. But I hate Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer because my jackass buddies in high school used to say I look like Kirby the Elf. I want to be a dentist guy. I want to be a dentist. It used to piss me off.
Do though. Look at the avatar.
totally Kirby the Elf. He looks like the silver and gold guy now with the beard. There you go.
So this is where I'm actually I'm realizing I'm going to lose it because Trading Places is an old movie, and I'm picking another one from the '80s that I actually saw in the theater, and that is Gremlins. Y'all have seen that movie before?
Yeah,
Ooh.
don't get him wet.
I have.
I saw it in the theater, and I was 15 probably when it came out.
Damn.
And if you're anywhere near my age, you can probably
Doing
guess
the-
why. I went
Doing
to
the
see
math
Gremlins.
now of like 15.
Was that like the Great Depression?
Listen, the Great
The
Depression
organ
had
playing.
Phoebe Cates movies, so that was good enough for me back in.
Yeah.
In
that's-
color or black and white?
It was in color.
Hates-
The moving pictures were in color by that point.
It
Hell
was the
yeah.
second one. It was the second one in color.
I'm not a math person, but Gremlins came out to theaters in 1984.
Yeah, I got it right. There you go.
Hell yeah, I was 1 year old.
I may have been born in the 60s. Possible. All right, Casey and Craig. More.
Well,
I'm
You
I'm
know-
done because I've already feel like I've won, so I'm just gonna give this one
well,
to Craig.
this will seal it because I think Christmas time is about family, right? And I think that is the most important time. Families coming together, families getting together. So I think for 4, we're going with The Godfather. Yes, technically a Christmas movie, or at least Christmas adjacent. The Corleone family is deep in mob business, while Christmas lights and holiday vibes quietly sit in the background, reminding you that even organized crime clocks in during the holidays.
Brilliant,
Yeah.
brilliant.
Rob
This is what
knew
it-
what you were going to say before you even said it.
This is what it sounds like when people prepare, right,
Yeah.
guys?
It's almost as if they're reading these things.
I mean, that was like eloquent.
Yeah.
Listen,
Well, you usually get some outside counsel. I'm actually getting some inside counsel this
There you
week.
go.
And
That's
you
it.
usually win when you get outside counsel.
I
by
should have
banking on
asked
it.
my consultant for help this week, obviously.
I talked to her earlier. She said she wasn't going to give you any help this week.
All right, so MBG and Rob, y'all have one more.
Okay. So
All right, Rob, bring it home.
look across everybody's list, there's one clear thing that's missing. When we think about a Christmas movie, we have to include the children, and that means we have to have a cartoon. So I'm going with the Polar Express for our final movie on the list. And if anybody voting has a pulse and cares about Christmas at all, Christmas Vacation, A Christmas Story, Step Brothers for your good laugh in there, and the Polar Express. How could we possibly lose this?
In the Polar Express.
Polar
Ever.
Express.
No one listens.
Greg?
If the Yell Leaders had a top 4 Christmas movie list, it would be that one.
Thank you, Courtney. See, look, Unity Council here.
That movie freaks me.
Get a-
Is it the hot chocolate?
Have you ever
It's
been on a
real.
Polar Express, an actual Polar Express train? Because that really enhances the
You live in
experience.
South Carolina. What
I was-
Polar Express are you?
I was
doing?
on one last night.
Bryson
Yeah.
City.
I got one on the Polar Express last night.
How'd it go?
I mean,
It's gonna be like I hated it.
Was it dumb?
you know, yeah, I would say so. Pretty dumb. I mean,
MBG hates everything.
I'm
so.
sure the movie was great, though.
Casey, can you edit Rob out of this section because MBG actually wants to try to win?
All of the heartstrings are being
It's
pulled. Don't worry.
tell Rob, but I love that movie.
Don't worry. We're pulling
Hey.
heartstrings still.
Casey, I'm disappointed because there was one good Reese Witherspoon Christmas movie left on
Four
the board.
Christmases.
4 Christmases. I
I
thought for
mean,
sure
that
you
was
would pick
fifth.
it.
That was on my list, but I thought
on
you
my
guys would
list.
take it. Yeah, I thought you guys were going to take American Psycho
We
early.
left
So
it-
If you do New
Yeah.
Year's movies, Godfather 2 is right there. I mean,
yeah,
who doesn't want to go to Havana? It's perfect.
What about the third one, Craig?
That one's terrible. Should be
Yeah, no one
deleted.
talks about the third one.
No, that one's off.
Sorry, I'm too young. I haven't seen them.
it's my personal favorite.
All right, y'all. So that brings us to our next segment, Genius of the Week. As always, each of us is going to nominate a player, coach, team, conference, someone who did something particularly dumb in the last week. We'll put it to a Twitter vote and see who wins. Y'all will never believe who won last week. So Courtney's nominee,
Oh.
anyone want to guess who it was?
Sharon Moore.
Sharon
Jerome
Moore?
Moore won with 79% of the vote, followed by Casey's nominee, Pete Bavacqua, with 16%. My nominee, me, finished in third with 4% of the vote. And MBG, I have to tell you, I was really bummed because your nominee, Calvin Curtis Johnson, at one point after 2 days of voting, had, because of rounding, 0% of the vote, but you inched your way up to 1% when the voting ended. That was almost the second. We had one other one where you got 0%. So I was hoping it was going to happen again. All right, so I'm in the lead with 55 wins. Casey has 26, Courtney has 21, and MBG has 1. So I think what we're going to do for this one is we're going to go around to our Genius of the Week and have you two do an unofficial vote here when we finish up. Does that work?
Sounds
Like we're judges. I love it. It's like a live judging.
Exactly. No pressure,
we
guys.
we take bribes. I'll give you my Venmo if you need it. So
All right, Casey, who you got?
I don't need to
This-
play dirty, guys.
This week, my Genius of the Week was actually a group effort in my unending attempt to again catch up to Who's, fight off the feisty Courtney, or not turn into MBG in the Genius of the Week standings. I sought some outside counsel, and not the outside counsel that Who's gets occasionally. My outside counsel may be present company. Some could say I stole this one from him, but it was perfect, so I just took it. I more borrowed it. And then I may even get him to add some commentary and therefore stacking the deck for who he's actually going to vote for later. Fingers crossed. Always looking for an edge. So I'm going with TJ Finley, who is suing the NCAA for a 7th year of eligibility, but that's only part of the reason he's my pick this week. He's currently at his 5th school, efforting to go to his 6th school in 7 seasons. LSU, Auburn, Texas State, Western Kentucky, and Georgia State, and then TBA should he win his case. At some point, this dude just needs to get a job. He likely already has a mortgage. He's the Phillip Rivers of NCAA football. Dude's about to be a grandfather. Stetson Bennett thinks TJ Finley has been in college too long, and then I'll defer to Craig for any further comments. But for all that, TJ Finley is my Genius of the Week.
listen, I think we've just got to give TJ a chance. That's all he really needs. He just wants to be successful. He wants something really great. I mean, he started school back when Who's was like a freshman at UVA. So he's been there for a minute or two. Let's get him to LSU Let's get him a real quarterback coach and really just give him a chance. So I think that was a great pick, Casey. I don't want to tip my hand of who I'm voting for, but I mean that was just fantastic.
I'm not sure if I can vote for TJ Finley. Casey, I'm sorry, simply because I think that I wasn't born yet when he started school, and so that's going to take me out of the. I don't have a full scope of what's going on.
That's a good point. I understand. Noted.
All right, Courtney, who you going with this week?
I think I'm gonna have to go with Lane Kiffin. So it seems he may not quite be over the breakup after all. This week at 4:16 a.m., mind you, he texts the Ole Miss media guy, the same guy that said you can't turn a hoe into a housewife, that one. Anyways, he sent a tweet, and it was asking if, the tweet said something about asking if Keith Carter was going to make Trinidad Chambliss sit out of the playoffs since he wasn't committed to Ole Miss yet. And Lane added in the text, so is Trent a hoe for asking the same question basically the same way I did? And this is really giving off the same vibes. Your ex keeps reaching out to you, but it's not because they want to get back together. It's just they don't want you to move on and be happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But personally, I feel like what Trinidad said is all that Ole Miss fans wanted from Lane. Just say, I'm considering the best options for myself instead of dodging the questions that had anything to do with other jobs. So for not being able to move on or hell, let us move on from this, Lane Kiffin is my genius of the week.
That's a pretty good one.
Yes. I mean, that was odd. I mean, granted, now that's the thing we love about Lane Kiffin too, is his pettiness. Yes, that's my favorite thing about Lane is that
he's at the big dog university now. He's not a little, he's not scrappy anymore.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
All right, MBG. Hope you can pump it up a little over 1% this week, man.
I think so. I'm going to go back to my roots a little bit here. We're going to head over to Thailand, Bangkok, to be more specific.
You're rude.
So here it is. A 65-year-old had been taken to Wat Rat Prakhong Thom, a Buddhist temple on the outskirts of Bangkok. After she appeared to stop breathing 2 days earlier, her family had traveled hundreds of miles with her body in the coffin and were preparing for her to be cremated. However, moments before the service began, a shocked temple manager, Peyrat Suthup, said he heard a faint knock coming from inside the coffin. I was a bit surprised, so I asked them to open the coffin, and everyone was startled, he said. I saw her opening her eyes slightly and knocking on the side of the coffin. She must have been knocking for quite some time. The cremation was due to be live streamed by the temple. The nation's best-selling newspaper named the woman in question as Shuthirat Salkut and said she was brought in by her brother Mongkol Sakulku. The brother said she had been bedridden for about 2 years before her health deteriorated further and she became unresponsive, appearing to have stopped breathing, according to Mr. Stoop. So the brother placed her in a coffin and drove her 300 miles from her home in Phitsanulok province in the north country of the capital, Bangkok. The Bangkok Post reported that the woman's brother had been told by local officials that his sister had died. The woman had wished to donate her organs to a hospital in the Thai capital, but her brother was turned away as he did not have the relevant paperwork. Instead, he went to the temple, which offers a free cremation service. After the woman was discovered alive, she was assessed and sent to Banyai Hospital, Thairat, reported where she was treated for hypoglycemia before being released back to her brother. Asked how he felt to learn that his sister is still alive, Mr. Sakulku said he was indifferent, according to the newspaper. So for trying to get his sister cremated before she was dead and being indifferent to finding out that she was actually alive, my man, Mr. Mongkol Sakulku, my genius.
Wow. There's so much going on there. I feel like this is like a 9-part episode on HBO, like a 9.
I'm so happy you have to spell that, MBG.
MBG's commitment to the pronunciations is what kills me every time.
Every time.
Yep.
That's what he meant by going back to his root.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so I'm going to go back to the SEC like Courtney this week. So my genius of the week is Diego Pavia, who completed his character arc from scrappy underdog to annoying douchebag in record time over the weekend. So after Pavia finished second in the Heisman voting on Saturday, what should have been a coronation of sorts quickly turned into a PR nightmare. Because after the ceremony, Pavia posted, "Fuck all the voters" on Instagram, and later was seen dancing badly with a "fuck Indiana" sign. This led, of course, to some fantastic content on Twitter as people all over the college football world began dragging Pavia. And this is why I picked him, because I love going through and just finding funny comments people make about guys like this. So I found a few here. First one is, because I'm sure y'all saw, like, the media guy, I guess, says he's 6 feet tall. That dude,
Not
he's
6 feet
not.
tall.
So one guy said, "I had no idea Diego Pavia was 7. This all makes sense now." A woman posted, "I reflexively cover up my drink every time I see a picture of Diego Pavia." Someone else said, "Diego Pavia will be doing $10 cameos in the break room of Sbarro Pizza within 3 years."
I love
favorite.
Sbarro.
And then this one just killed me. "Diego Pavia is like if Axe Body Spray and Monster Energy had a baby and gave it up for adoption." So for all of those reasons, Diego Pavia is my genius.
That's good.
That's good.
All right, guys, you got
Is
two
it
votes.
judging time?
Go ahead, Rob. You go ahead, buddy. Age before.
I think you should go exactly age before beauty. You've made a bit. You made an entire bit of calling me young. So yes, you go first. Age before beauty.
You know, as much as I love my guy TJ Finley, Christmas time's about the holidays and about family getting together. I'm going with Who's, because Diego Pavia is just an absolute tool, and I am so done with him and cannot wait for him to just flame out, and when we never hear him again. So Who's, you have my vote this week. Sorry, buddy.
Hell yeah.
So glad that everybody's getting on this train with me. I didn't like him before, but I saw him at the game warming up in Tuscaloosa, and he was practicing taking a knee. Like his celebration, like taking a knee and practicing it. And I was like, this bitch.
Well, the funny thing is, I just remembered this. I picked him for Genius of the Week back when, whose field did he get caught?
New Mexico State.
Yeah, New Mexico, because he was on New Mexico State.
Right.
Yeah. We had to learn how to pronounce his name because we weren't sure.
All right, Rob. So who you got?
Speaking, it's a difficult decision, right? Because I think everybody had someone who is worthy in their own way of being added to this list. But without a doubt, the one that captured me the most, and you all did a great job of building it up and telling the story. But if I'm looking for the overall picture, and I'm not as committed to the pronunciations, but Munghole Magugu sounds like the best story that I've heard in a long time. And so for that,
Cool.
I liked Rob's name better.
I'm going with MBG. Be the 0.1%.
I was going to say that MBG, that's your one vote right there. Good
That's
take.
right.
He's tied for the lead right now.
Shut it down, man. It's tied.
No, I feel like Courtney's in Diego Pavia, so sorry, you're still in second there.
Now, Courtney votes for herself every week.
Are we not supposed to do that? Y'all would be shocked, of course, to find that I vote for myself. It's like the least surprising thing ever. All right.
Roll it over.
Every time when Who's reads off like MBG like gets like 5% or 1% or whatever, I automatically think of that clip of Kris Jenner telling Kylie when she's pushing the cart back to put the shopping cart back up, and she's filming her, and she's like, "You're doing amazing, sweetie." That's how I feel every time. I'm gonna start telling you that.
Before we move on to our next segment, I want to give a quick shout out to Coach Letterman for sponsoring the MBG podcast. You can find his truth bombs on Twitter at 3Year Letterman, and his life-changing books, Not Some Random Clown and Determined Look, on Amazon.
He does kind of suck, but he's for sponsoring.
Also, we're doing a cross promotion with the Sickos Committee podcast again this week. They had a new episode drop yesterday titled The Horrifying Bagel Thing, which featured classic Sickos content, including the Quadruple Overtime Celebration Bowl, Army-Navy, the FCS quarterfinals, and much more. We love the Sickos, so check them out. All right, MBG, got some good posts for us this week?
I do, guys. So I feel like there's only one logical place to start this week with the best message board post from the week, and that's up in Ann Arbor. I got some Michigan posts that came out after Sharon Moore was fired and after that whole thing went down. So I'm just going to read a few, and you guys can tell me which was the best one. So the first one is from a fellow named Palm Springs Blue. He says, "Not political. Can Trump pardon Moore? No reason for him to suffer." Then this same guy, I just noticed this was the same guy. He was on a roll. Another post. he made another post. He's got a different idea now. Can Michigan put Coach Moore up at a Motel 6 for a couple months to help ensure a smooth transition to new coach? He needs the stability, and we need his steadying influence as the new staff comes in.
Yeah,
Sounds like a win-win to me.
Kind of a two-part plan, right? He gets pardoned, and then he gets.
Is this Sharon Morris burner?
It might be.
That's a safe bet. I like the Motel 6 was the motel that he picked to put him up at. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I've never been to Ann Arbor, but I mean, seems like you put him up somewhere else.
There are nicer
No,
hotels.
save
There's
money.
nicer hotels than Motel 6, and I don't know. Like, am I feeling great about staying at the Motel 6?
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly.
No.
Have you guys ever stayed at a Motel 6?
Yes.
I've stayed at some seedy motels before in my day, my friend.
So I stayed at a Motel 6 in North Charleston. We had all my buddies from college. They were going to the Pearl Jam concert back when I was in school. So it was a long time ago, but Clemson was playing, I think, NC State that night. So I didn't go to the concert. I was the only one out of like 8 dudes that didn't go to the concert. We got one room at the Motel 6 in North Charleston. I left the door open. I was drinking beers the whole time. 2 gentlemen came to the door. I think they were probably trying to rob me, but I put my charm on, and they ended up drinking beers with me. They didn't rob me, but I had way too many beers that night, and no one believed my story. And I was a little bit intoxicated, so I don't know if I believe my story to this day.
May or may not have happened.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I mean, maybe that's a fair punishment for Sharon Moore. They'll make him stay at a Motel 6 for a month or two while they get things straightened out
It
there.
was delightful.
Motel.
Yeah, anytime you're staying.
I stayed one time.
Go ahead.
I stayed in one time, and I didn't even dare lay in the bed. I just sat on the chair the whole time. I did.
Like, are you afraid
No,
you're
it
going
was
to get
nasty.
robbed, or?
No, it was nasty.
Yeah.
Actually, I slept on the floor that
I
night
didn't know
too,
what
but I
it
don't
would
know if
be
that was
that
by
bad.
choice.
It was probably a cleaner option.
We were in West Virginia on vacation one time. We were supposed to stay at a Knights Inn, which is just, I think, about as classy as a Motel 6. And we drove by, and my wife and I just looked at each other and we're like, nope, that's not it. And I just called the guy, I'm like, just canceling, and we're just going to go somewhere else. So, just a hard pass. And the best thing is I talked to the guy for about 20 minutes, and we got our money back. So it was
Boy,
Did that in Atlanta one time, but it was an Airbnb, and when I rode by and there was like a cage of bars on the door, I decided that was not a good option for me to take. So
I was going to say, did you say
judgmental.
yeah, well, looking back, all the pictures on the Airbnb listing were of the inside. That probably was a part of.
I love the mental image of MBG just sitting like bolt upright in a chair in a motel, in some dim light.
Probably towels on it, so he's not actually touching the chair.
The lights flicker.
I didn't
too,
dare
right?
touch the towels either, man. I don't know how much we paid for that, but it was too much. I should have just sat in the car.
should have called me MBG. I could have got you out of it, but
Well, I should have. I believe this was like out in West Sacramento somewhere. Not the ideal place for a Motel 6 to be staying in a Motel 6, but what you can do. All right, we'll stay on the Sharon Moore stuff. There's a post from an Ohio State board, Bucknuts.
Sure.
This post starts out the way that I love posts to start out. It says, "Hear Me Out" by Private Pile. While at Alabama, Nick Saban was known for hiring recently fired head coaches, several let go due to scandals as analysts, with the objective of A, helping his own program, and B, as a way to help these guys resuscitate their careers. The list is pretty impressive, with Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian, Butch Jones, and Mike Locksley immediately coming to mind. With Saban no longer on the scene, these downtrodden need a new place to resurrect their careers. I believe Ryan Day has become one of the logical successors to take on this role. Who would be a great first analyst hire, you ask? None other than Sharon Moore. Can you imagine the reaction this would get from Michigan fans? There would be many a sleepless night in Ann Arbor with them wondering if/when Sharon was going to rat on them for their numerous dark secrets. If Ryan Day wants to make the statement that he is a cold-blooded killer, this would be a great shot across the bow. Genius move, right?
Right off the bat, the thing that jumps out to me is that Champions of Life Butch Jones was cited as a success story of resuscitating careers.
Notable omissions: Bill O'Brien and Billy Napier.
the good thing about Butch, though, Butch was always there with a cup of water for Saban, because I don't think Nick ever let him in with a headset or up in a booth anywhere. I think like that was Butch's job. Get me some water, make sure I'm well hydrated.
Brick by brick, cup by cup, whatever it takes, right? as many catchphrases as we can come up with.
Look, we're not going to be able to
All in.
duplicate Saban's home for wayward coaches. You know, that is come and gone. That is a thing of the past.
Isn't Rich Rodriguez there too?
No.
That list is impressive.
It is.
He got that part right, MBG.
I feel like what Sharon Moore has going on is a little bit more than a scandal. I'm not sure.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see how this is sticking it to Michigan, hiring a guy just like threatening to kill someone, right?
Allegedly.
Yeah, the whole story though went from like you're gonna poke fun at Michigan to like this is just sad, and like it's just like it just went alleged, whatever allegedly may or may not have happened, but it was just like ugh, it was just
Covering our bases, Craig. Just covering our
I get it,
bases.
I get it. We all got to cover our bases, but yeah, just anything that's come out like since that time has just not been good.
It definitely went from really, really funny to
Yeah.
really, really unfunny very quickly that day.
Yeah, unfunny.
Well, I'm nosy, so
All right.
Leave it to
Sorry, I'm
No.
downer over here. Sorry.
well, I just want to know. I saw pictures of him and his wife like leaving the lawyer's office, and now like I want to know what's going on with them. I have to know. I'm nosy, and I need to know. Someone needs to find out.
You're
So-
gonna wait for the Netflix special. It's coming.
Here's what I want to know. So I don't care about the details. I want to know how this guy is coaching at one of the major college football programs. He's got a wife and 3 kids. How in the hell does he have time to be doing all this other stuff, man?
I mean, he said in the court hearing, didn't he? 2 years.
I need some time management advice from him because I'm doing something. Well, I mean, just time management, not
Yeah,
to
yeah.
do what he did, but just to get my life in order.
All right. Here's a post that I thought was hilarious for some reason. I don't know why. This is from an LSU board Tiger rant. And it said, I think this is after all the rumors of maybe Kalen DeBoer either going to Penn State or to Michigan now. It said, it would be very nice if Kiffin proactively declared he is not a candidate anywhere else. Maybe wishful thinking, but that would help him rebuild some trust with the pearl clutchers who had a problem with him a few weeks ago. How rich is it that LSU wants Lane Kiffin to come out and say that he's not going anywhere?
Who are the pearl clutchers that he's referring to? Are the LSU pearl clutchers, or were the Ole Miss pearl clutchers? Like who was clutching their pearls in Baton Rouge over Ole Miss? Or Lane Kiffin.
Well, I think they're worried about him leaving.
Well, he's going to go to Alabama. He's going to go hang out with Courtney.
Listen, man, if Lane Kiffin left LSU before coaching a single game there, it would be the greatest day in message board history. That would the meltdowns and everything else.
Yeah, we're rooting for it.
It would just be so amazing.
Poor Joy. Poor Joy. That's all I would say.
Well, I'm not wishing it on her. I'm just saying.
No, I'm just saying she would lose it. But wouldn't it also be like pure Lane Kiffin though?
Yeah, that's what I mean, though. Like,
Yeah.
just to complete another heel turn
Absolutely.
would be
I
amazing.
think that like if Greg Byrne called up Lane Kiffin, it was like, we want you to come be our coach. Lane Kiffin would be like, I am on my way.
Yes.
Do I think that they will ever call him? No.
Board of Trustees won't let that happen.
No. They didn't do it last
Would
time.
they call Sark or Kiffin first? Who
Sark.
would their first call be, Sark or Kiffin?
Sark.
Sark has shown that he can take Saban's blueprint, and with the money and with alignment, he could do that. I just don't think Sark's leaving Austin for that because I don't think that's enough of a move. Where I think that is always Kiffin's number one.
Yeah. I don't think Sark would leave either. I mean, the NIL that they have there is just way better than ours. I mean, we're still way behind on ours because we had the Saban discount.
That's right. They were
Still trying
not
to-
paying players at Alabama.
Nope.
Julio Jones
Did not get an Escalade for
Please.
sure.
played for free.
For sure.
Just want to get to the league, Casey. That's it.
I get it.
It's respected the process. That you know what? Some people just don't understand the process.
All right, this is one of my favorite posts of the week. Notre Dame fans have been on one since getting snubbed.
Oh, my God.
What?
From the
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I know.
Join a conference,
Yeah, believe it or
bitches.
not.
I haven't seen anything on this.
Go ahead, Craig. Tell him to
Well,
let it go. That's your position.
Courtney, you wanted to join a conference. That's exactly what this fellow wants to do. Gerard is his name. He says, I've been proposing an academic conference for years. I did this years ago while Terry Glenn was at Ohio State reading at a 4th grade level. Ask Bill Parcells. That part seems unnecessary, but
Yeah,
I mean.
just catch it a complete stray there.
Right?
So here's his proposed conference. Notre Dame, Boston College, Stanford, Northwestern, Duke, Vanderbilt, Cal Golden Bears, who's Virginia, and BYU. Only players under 25 can play, though.
Is eligible.
This is the new nerd conference, I guess you could call it.
The nerd conference. I love that. They put only players under 25 can play.
They'd be good at lacrosse, Craig.
Good at lacrosse.
How, is BYU that good of a school?
It's a pretty reputable school education-wise. I'm not sure that it's up there with some of these guys there, but
That's
if they're
weird.
25.
No mission.
Am I the only one who doesn't think Notre Dame has to join a conference? Like, why would they?
They don't have to now because we gave them a guarantee they're going to get in.
Exactly. Just let them go. And I'm glad they did what they did. They took their money and they went home. It's good.
What's
What's the difference between not being in a conference and being in this conference?
That's also a good point because that looks like their independent schedule anyway.
Right?
This is as easy as actually maybe even easier than their current schedule.
Well, let's look at it again.
Yeah.
Well, you got Rice.
I mean, they definitely play.
Come on,
most
Duke was
of
the
those
ACC
teams.
champions though, so I mean they're pretty good.
Why not
Yeah.
put USC in here? That's a weird omission, right? Or is it?
Well,
Are they in here? Am I missing it?
No, they're not there.
Yeah,
Sorry,
why
they
not
keep
put? That's
taking it
weird.
down.
Yeah.
UCLA, USC.
USC quit on them, so I guess they're done with them.
Oh, they're mad. Michigan's a good school.
What
So
about
they-
Right?
For sure.
Would not like to play anybody who's actually any good.
Yeah, let's just put
Just to
Rice.
Just keep our schedule the same. But they don't play any FCS schools now. Remember that.
Hey,
Yep.
listen,
Just
when you
lose
play
them if
9
they go
conference
to 5.
games, sometimes you need to have that FCS game because guess what? It's for the good because a lot of those teams are in state. It's very good for, karate.
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
don't know what you're
It
talking
actually
about.
keeps their athletic programs afloat. But
it does.
we'll make that argument another day.
It also allows South Carolina to be bowl eligible every other year, every third year.
I don't see a South Carolina team on South Carolina's schedule next year.
Wow, that is just what strays. What
Oh, I'm
strays?
sorry, Rob. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were here.
Hey, it's usually me, so I'm so glad you're here, Rob.
So I just want to point out that the nerd conference here has 4 10-win teams in it. So you guys can suck it.
Who's was doing math?
I will.
He had a slide rule out from high school.
And
Yeah.
arguably the best quarterback in the country coming back next year too, with Cal.
Yeah, that dude's a monster.
All right. Last post. This is one of the great message board posts that I've seen in a while for many reasons. But y'all saw Brendan Sorsby, the quarterback from Cincinnati, enter the transfer portal. So there was all sorts of rumors about where he might end up. Apparently his girlfriend is now at Texas Tech. And there was a post on the Texas Tech board by a fellow named Tomato Red. He said, Brendan Sorsby's YouTube account. My buddy who graduated this past weekend had his family come into town. They rented an Airbnb, and the TV at the Airbnb was signed into an account that was Brendan Sorsby. I mean, the timing with his girlfriend and her commitment is convenient. Does this YouTube account seal the deal for the rumors? Not sure, but it is funny.
Absolutely.
Such a great post.
This is better than a plane tracker.
That's what message board for.
Better than a plane tracker.
Right.
Better than the custodian. Right? Remember we had that custodian in Nebraska.
If I could offer Mr. Sorsby any advice, if we look at Carson Beck last year, don't follow your girlfriend when you go to transfer to college. It just won't
She
end
was
up
hot
well.
though, Craig. She was hot.
Yeah, but didn't work out for old Carson. So look out.
Well-
Just beware.
Or just don't cheat on her and have her go get a boob job. That's the other thing you could do.
But you can say boob.
Job's not a phrase, right? That sounds weird.
God, I'm so confused.
Yeah, I think that Sorsby actually could end up in Lubbock though, which is kind of funny. If that turns out to be true, and this guy claims it was all started at the YouTube TV account, that'll be hilarious.
The biggest lesson I'm taking out of this is make sure you're signing out of your damn streaming services when you leave places.
The funniest
yeah,
thing
you
is
could-
if this is a random person that just made their account name Brendan Sorsby and left it on purpose
God,
for
that'd
the
be great.
purpose of trying to spark this rumor.
That'd be
Someone
amazing.
Yeah, I'm going to tell myself that's what MBG does when he travels for work. Just stuff like that.
Somebody could really screw up his algorithm, watching all sorts of crazy stuff on his YouTube account.
That's true.
Which is a fun activity. If you haven't done that to somebody before, messing
so
up
good.
somebody's YouTube algorithm is very enjoyable.
It is good.
Yeah.
Logging out of my YouTube TV account right now.
Well, that's all I brought, guys. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for it was a lot of
This has been
fun.
a ton of fun. I'm going to go back to watching Nick Minicucci on the 68 Ventures Bowl, which is somehow not on the all names team, but it should be.
Tell us where we can find you guys, please.
You can find us everywhere on X, on YouTube, on podcast platforms. On X and YouTube, you can find us at Chief Sports Net. You can also find us at Rob Williams GCP, at McMicah7. Those are our X accounts where you can find the show each and every week. And then the Chief Sports South Carolina YouTube channel, as well as College Football Forever Chief YouTube channels. We're on both of those. And then on podcasts on Spotify and Apple at SEC
enough.
Sunday Night.
That's enough.
Look, we just want to be accessible. We need to be accessible. Everybody needs to hear this voice and see this face. And sometimes they need Craig too.
Yeah,
Thanks, y'all. It's you guys.
Thanks, guys.
You're tuned into SEC Sunday Night, part of the Chief Sports Network.
Sunday Night Live on the Chief Sports Network. We are here as always, ready to break it down for you. The casual sports conversation for the serious sports fan. If you are ready to talk about the college football playoff, we've got a show for you. I hope that you enjoyed that first hour with the Message Board Genius podcast. I'm Rob Williams. He is Craig McMichael, and we had a great time breaking it down with those guys. I will remind you that we're brought to you by Hewitt Domaduros Law. And just as we welcome you into our family, hdlawsc.com welcomes you into theirs. If you have personal injury, an insurance claim, or more, these are the guys to call. Brad and Dean are going to get to know you. They've won tens of millions of dollars for their clients, and they would love to talk to you today. Just go to hdlawsc.com. Craig, so much to talk about. First of all, how cool was it to be on the MBG pod?
Oh my God, that was a blast, and I am 100% totally biased, but that is the first time I have ever heard a show where you had 6 people on it, and it wasn't ego. It was just some friends getting together. I mean, it is an extension. This is why we all get together. We've had everybody on the show. Casey is here every week. We are just friends, and we love to talk ball, and they also allow us to expand beyond football, don't they? I mean, but there was one big problem. Do you know what was wrong with it?
What were we missing?
I missed the best Christmas movie of all time, Goodfellas. I mean, you think about it. I mean, I feel like someone's going to tell me to go get my Shine box now or something like that. But I mean, the Christmas is so much a part of it. They have the big heist. Bobby D says, "Don't spend the money," and then what happens? Spoiler alert, by the way. Have you seen it?
Of course, I've seen it.
Okay, I'm just making sure the guys spend the money. But oh my gosh! But in all seriousness, big thank you to Who's, MBG, Casey, Courtney. That is so much fun, and I was so glad to be there. And I was laughing the whole time as I was eating a quick lunch before we came home, before we jump on the air today.
Yeah, we've been friends with them for a while now, and it's been really cool to incorporate the It Just Means More Genius segment to our show every week, and to have Casey on. And like you said, we've had them all on at times. Casey's with us every week. But it was good just to be on their turf a little bit and to do this to make history. The first time ever, a collab between the MBG pod and another show. Yep. And it's us kicking off, Craig, a weekend of coverage of the first round of the college football playoff. We are just getting started here in this hour. We have Travis Davidson of KREF and OU Insider to talk to us about what's happening in Norman, how they're preparing, and what the expectations are from that Sooner fan base. Later in the hour, at about 3:45 Eastern, we will have Clint Lamb in to talk about Alabama. not great results the past couple times in Norman, Oklahoma, or against this Oklahoma team, period. And so we'll see what the expectations are there. You and I have said it a couple times. We're going to continue to say it here in this hour. I think that we are both roll tide when it comes to this matchup tonight if we're putting our money down.
Wait,
But it
hang on.
is. Are you backtracking?
No, not at all. I've seen Oklahoma play offense. Roll damn tide.
Look, I think that we just have to own it because we said it last Sunday. We said it with MBG and the crew.
Yep.
We're going to say it again here. And we'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. We've got Emily Taylor in to talk about the Ducks. We've got Cole Kublik of the SEC Network talking about all the games tomorrow to break those things down. And I'm going to do an hour with Joy tomorrow morning as well. The SEC Sunday night collab will be happening there. And so we're going to be back to talk about what happens. And so if we need to eat crow or whatever they eat in Norman, Oklahoma, and we were wrong, then we'll be right back with our cold takes exposed, freezing cold take of the day when we start off tomorrow morning bright and early at 8 a.m. Eastern. And then, of course, we'll be back on Sunday night. Craig, anything in your cup as we prepare for this evening tonight? Are we drinking anything? We want to just sit back and relax, right? What we got going on?
So let's be honest. I had to work from home today. Little one was not feeling good. So I've had 4 cups of coffee, and we've got Kauai coffee, which is great. And then I just had some Chinese food lunch and finished my Coca-Cola Classic. So I literally just finished before we got on. So we're doing okay.
Well, direct opposition. I've got the Pepsi Zero Sugar cherry and cream. Really, really goes down smooth, just hitting the perfect spot. Craig, it's time to get into it. So let's jump over and talk a little bit here about how excited we are over the course of the weekend. Remind us 2 questions. Number 1, scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for this weekend? And number 2, which game is the most exciting?
So I'm at an 11 because obviously I love it. The bowl season, I'll be honest, I've sort of gotten into it, but now that it's a playoff, now it's serious. And I wrote about it earlier this week when I was previewing the games. This is the opportunity now for the SEC to basically shut up the Big Ten, shut up Texas Tech and everything like that. This weekend we have 4 teams, 3 home games. I'm really excited for tonight. I think that is going to be a lot of fun. I think the first one to 24 probably going to win that one. But the game I'm most looking forward to is the one tomorrow at 11 a.m. Texas A&M and Miami. That one, I think, is going to be unhinged. I think we're going to see a lot of points. I think we're going to see turnovers. I think we're going to see chaos. And we may see our first big overtime game with a 12-team format. So I am totally looking forward to it. But I am totally stoked and ready to go.
Yeah, me too. So there's 2 different questions here. I'm also at an 11 because it's time to turn this whole thing up, right, and get it going. It is playoff time. I've been locked in with the bowl season. I've been watching these bowls. It's been a lot of fun. There may have been more people in my living room watching them than there are actually in the stands at times. But it's still been fun to just have football and be able to soak all of that in. But you're right. It's the college football playoff. It's a little different. And tonight, it just means more as we have an SEC on SEC matchup. And so for me, we've said it before, and you'll continue to hear us say it over the course of the weekend. You just said it again. Tomorrow's 12 noon matchup
11 a.m. Jefferson
is
Pilot.
the most intriguing. It is the one with the most variables. It's the most unpredictable. But I think tonight's game in Norman, Oklahoma is potentially the most exciting game. The game where we could get the most fireworks. Maybe happening tonight between 2 SEC teams in a rematch that was very close in the first round. Now it's the first round of the playoffs.
Yep.
So there's a little more on the table. There's a little more at stake, and those turnovers are going to feel a little more magnified when it comes to a playoff game. How do they handle the pressure? What does this Oklahoma team do on a stage that they haven't seen in quite some time, especially not under this regime with Brent Venables? How does Alabama perform? They're on the road. This is no longer Saban's team. This is a new look Alabama. And obviously, this is our second year with that, but it feels a little different to me this year because last year you're only 1 year removed. It's the first year under Kalen DeBoer. You're working out some kinks, right?
Yep.
No longer. This is year 2. You started off with a rough loss against Florida State, rebounded nicely, but a skid through the last few games of the season puts Alabama in a tough spot. I feel like they need to go out and get this one to kind of keep their momentum as a program going, which is a whole different conversation.
And I struggle with this, right? Like, I think we both try not to be prisoners of the moment. Try not to be too overreactionary. You know, I know we love our friends at freezing cold takes, but I feel like we try to be pretty level and we try to be analytical. You want to look at Alabama, and in our purview of Alabama and the SEC, they've been at an upper echelon. They're at a top tier. And I think what you're trying to say now is that they're towards the bottom of tier 1. They lose again tonight. Maybe they're starting to think about becoming that tier 2 program, and Kalen DeBoer isn't what we thought, because the other thing we got to consider, there's a lot of noise about Kalen DeBoer in Michigan. Now, he came out and said he's not going anywhere, but, you know, we take all of these coaches at their word. I try to look at Alabama. I look at Oklahoma. They limped into the playoff. I think if you gave Kalen DeBoer true serum, he didn't really want to play the SEC championship. He would have rather had Texas A&M have play Georgia, try to get healthy, not worry about that. And let's be honest, Brent Venables is really glad Oklahoma didn't have to play in an SEC championship, because they haven't looked right since like the beginning of October. They have sort of meandered and kind of skated their way in. So like, this is going to be a big SEC matchup, but I think it comes down to that question of the future of these programs. Alabama's technically number 1 in the conference this year, but the floor is rising quickly, and I think we could see them backslide down to 5 or 6 for sure.
Absolutely. So as we look at these programs, let's get some experts who are in the towns. You know, we look at the conference as a whole.
Yep.
But there's no one better than those who are covering it boots on the ground week in and week out. And to begin that, we'll have Travis Davidson of OU Insider and KREF, the Ref, here with us in just a moment. It's time for our first break here on SEC Sunday Night on a Friday. We'll see you in just a second.
At TriFit Physical Therapy and Performance, we believe true health and peak performance start with personalized care. Whether you're an athlete recovering from injury or just chasing your next personal best, we're here to guide your journey. With expert coaching, hands-on therapy, and transparent cash-based pricing, you get the care you need without the insurance red tape. One client drove 100 miles just to see us and said it was worth every mile. Contact us at trifitperformance.com or 803-353-5619. TriFit Physical Therapy and Performance, where recovery meets results.
When playing sports, you want a coach that will fight for you. At Hewitt Diamaduros Law Firm, we've got your back. Whether it's personal injury, insurance disputes, negligence, or wrongful death, our team delivers exceptional legal services that makes meaningful difference in the lives of the individuals and families we work for. Visit hdlawse.com. hdlawse.com. Hewitt Diamaduros, we're on your team.
Is SEC Sunday night on the Chiefs Sports Network.
Welcome back to SEC Sunday Night Special Edition, live on a Friday afternoon, preparing for the college football playoff. As a reminder, we are proudly presented by Hewitt Domaduros Law, HD Law, SC.com. And right now we are joined by Travis Davidson of the OU Insider. Travis, talk to us a little bit about what this season has meant for you guys. Coming out of last year, a big turnaround. We had Brent Venables potentially on the hot seat coming into 2025, and here you are in the college football playoff, proving the naysayers wrong with John Mateer and Ben Arbuckle and company coming over. So just speak broad spectrum for a moment, what this season has meant in Norman.
Yeah. First of all, thanks for having me. This is awesome to be on with you. But it's funny you say Brent Venables potentially on the hot seat. No, he was absolutely squarely both cheeks on the hot seat. No doubt about it. He'd be the first to tell you that, right? And, you know, a lot of Oklahoma fans, especially after the bowl game lost to Navy, which bowl games, you know, ask Notre Dame or Kansas State or any of these guys, it's like you got half your roster there, you know, transfer portal era, this, that, and the other. Oklahoma should never lose to Navy regardless, but a lot of people were out on Brent Venables after that game. And, you know, even Oklahoma starts the season well, the Texas loss, people are back on the Fire Brent bandwagon. Okay, and then you bounce back at South Carolina. They're like, okay, is this fool's gold? You know, they may stink. And then you get beat by Ole Miss. Hey, it's Fire Brent Venables again. And it's just crazy because what it really came down to was the month of November, right? We call it Red November around here. So a play on our old Red October from 2000. You'll have to get your history books out for that one, kids. But with Red November, you're staring down 4 games that are one of the tougher gauntlets in the country, right? You start off with at Tennessee at night, a tough place to play, especially at night. They don't lose a lot there at night. You go to Alabama with your next game, and then you finish it off with Missouri, who was ranked at the time and one of the best rushing attacks in the entire country with Ahmad Hardy. And then you finish it off with an LSU team that, regardless of whether they got a head coach or not, they've got NFL talent on both sides of the ball at all times, every year. So that's maybe why Lane Kiffin wanted to go there because no matter what, you're always going to have a ton of talent there. So anyways, you know, they were faced with that November, and you go 4-0 in that, give yourself a chance to make the college football playoff and really guarantee yourself a spot with the way it broke out. So, you know, couldn't be more excited about the way that it ended up. And you know, we're excited to finally get a home playoff game in Norman, Oklahoma.
Yeah, and as a host as well on KREF, the ref, that, you know, it's the home of Sooner fans. What's the buzz all week leading into this home playoff game? You talk about that. We've talked a little bit about the value of the home playoff game maybe over the bye week, because it does allow for a lot of, you don't get as much time off, but maybe that allows you not to get cold. But the momentum that you get from a home playoff game, what has been the buzz from this fan base over the course of the week as you guys get ready for a big game?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when you look at just last year, right, Rob, it was, man, if you had that tune-up game, or maybe not even a tune-up, if you got to be able to stay in rhythm and the whole rest versus rust argument, of course. I mean, when you look at all the teams that got buys last year, they didn't fare so well down the stretch. So I think the perfect spot, obviously, is the 5 and 6. You know, you get Tulane and James Madison, both, you know, 3 touchdown favorites, basically. You know, that really sets up your Ole Miss and your Oregon squads to really go on a run, I think. But, you know, with Oklahoma, you know, the home environment, it's been so interesting because you lose to Ole Miss at home when you thought you played well enough to win. You just shot yourself in the foot over and over, and you got nobody to blame but yourself. Ole Miss, obviously a very good team here in the playoff. You know, kind of the same thing. I mean, Texas was a neutral site, but it's not like Oklahoma has just been blowing teams out at home. You know what I mean? Like Missouri was tough. LSU, you're losing late, right? You know, you've got Alabama, or you've got Michigan and Auburn at the beginning of the year. That comes down to, I mean, end of game possessions, right? Against Michigan, John Mateer's got to drive the length of the field and ice it. And then Auburn, they've got a chance to win the game late. And obviously, R. Mason Thomas, who will be back for this game, is, you know, just kind of shuts all that down. So, yeah, I mean, the home environment, it's going to be one of the best home environments that we've seen in Norman, Oklahoma, probably the best of my lifetime. People talk about the 85 Nebraska game. I wasn't at the 2000 Nebraska game, but it's interesting. A lot of SEC fans forget we don't get our chief rival at home. So, like, when people talk about, like, Alabama fans will talk about, like, oh, man, the Iron Bowl. Like, yeah, you get the Iron Bowl at home every other year. Like, so when you start talking about environments and whatnot, Oklahoma, they've got to go get, especially coming from the Big 12, you've got to go get a Notre Dame on your schedule. You've got to go get an Ohio State on your schedule. You've got to get a Michigan on your schedule. So when you look at just the environment, that's what's been so great about being in the SEC is you've got these big brands coming. But I'm expecting just an insane, indescribable type of environment in Norman for this game.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you mentioned R. Mason Thomas, and I think that kind of leads us beautifully into looking at the personnel and the matchups here. We're looking at it today from both sides of the coin. What are the advantages for Alabama, but also what are the advantages for Oklahoma? The good thing is we've already seen this matchup one time, and so we can look a little bit at what worked last time, what didn't work, and then you kind of get into the chess match of, in a lot of cases, what it's going to be Venables versus Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer. And then, on the flip side of that, you have Kane Womack and Ben Arbuckle kind of squaring off as well. But to me, the primary matchup becomes how does this passing attack from Alabama get something going against a dominant front seven for Oklahoma? As you look at it, which one of those matchups are you saying this is Oklahoma's bread and butter? This is where they need to make their money, and this is how they're going to be successful in winning this football game?
Yeah, I mean, like every football game, right, Rob? It comes down to can you make their quarterback uncomfortable, right? And I think what we saw down the stretch, Oklahoma, blitz at the highest rate that Alabama had seen that season. Brent Venables blitzed at an absurd rate, and that's kind of his calling card, right? He's going to bring pressure, and sometimes you get beat. Sometimes they've got the right play call. You don't replace the blitz quick enough or anything like that. When you start looking at the actual turnovers that they were able to force, they were forced turnovers. It wasn't they snapped it over his head and, a defensive end beat him to the ball, or they weren't running into the end zone and dropped the ball before because they were celebrating. No, all three turnovers were forced turnovers. So I think that's important to remember. And you could see the look on Ty Simpson's face as he was coming off the field after he got smoked into that forced fumble. He wanted no part of that anymore. He was done. So you started to see him speed up a little bit. He's got this super processor to him, and that's what Brent Venables knows. Ty Simpson's the best quarterback that we've seen this year as far as just processing defenses, knowing what you're trying to do, pre-snap, post-snap, things like that. Ty Simpson is the best at it. I mean, obviously, we've played some fantastic quarterbacks. I don't want to take anything from them, but that's Ty's calling card. So with him, as protection continued to kind of erode and leak, if you will, Oklahoma just dialed it up faster and faster. And the issue was a couple of those plays, they knew where the hots were based on earlier possessions, right? So people will look at that game and go, man, Ty threw for over 300 yards, man. He had a great day. It's like, yeah, Brent Venables builds those things in. If he can figure out what all your reads are in the first few drives, then he'll use those against you in future drives, right? That's how we saw, the forced fumble, because PJ Adebawore goes back with his, long wingspan, drops out of the defensive end spot and takes away his hot when he's like, oh, that's exactly where I'm supposed to go. Brent Venables is great about dialing those kind of things up. So you're right. It's really about this front seven for Oklahoma against Ty Simpson. Alabama hasn't been able to run the ball against anybody this year. Oklahoma hasn't really been able to run the ball. They rely on explosives with guys like Isaiah Satania and Deion Burks to get that done. Jaron Kanik, obviously an all SEC tight end after moving over from linebacker. But John Mateer has said, look, I feel more comfortable. Obviously, he had the famous Dr. Shin hand surgery in the middle of the year. So, he's talked about, hey, he doesn't have a brace on it anymore. He's got a better grip on the ball. He's climbing in the pocket more. It's less of the kind of shortstop vibes that you saw really right after that as he tried to generate something on the ball. So I think John Mateer is going to be, as healthy as he is, as he has been since the beginning of the year. What's going to be interesting is there's a lot of quarterbacks in the portal, right? John Mateer at some point I know he's got a 2-year deal with Oklahoma. Somewhere in the back of his head, he's probably thinking to himself, I want Oklahoma to see they don't need to look for any quarterbacks in the portal this offseason. I'm going to make sure that I'm the reason that we can continue to move forward. And with John Mateer, that just comes down to playing clean. No turnovers, no pre-snap penalties, no illegal formations, no anything like that. Like, got to play clean, can't give the ball to the other team if you're going to have a chance in this one.
Yeah, and let me just point out here to everybody who's listening and watching, this is how you know that Travis is quality and does the best work and knows exactly what he's talking about. Because he just took that question that was in my head about what gives you confidence that John Mateer can perform well in this matchup, and he answered it without me even having to ask it. And that's how you know that he's covering this sport well. Look, we talk about Brent Venables and the pre-snap stuff against Ty Simpson. One thing that you talk about Simpson's calling card is being able to dissect and see what the defense is going to do. Venables' calling card, even back to Clemson and his days before that at Oklahoma as a defensive coordinator, is that he's going to change things at the last minute. He's waiting, and then he's going to trap you. How do we see that as an opportunity to get those turnovers again? And you talked about it before. They were forced, and it was intentional. But does it worry you at all from the Oklahoma sideline or the Oklahoma side of things that turnovers sometimes, even if you have a plan to scheme them, you need a little bit of luck in that game as well. It doesn't just come because you do X plus Y and you're automatically going to get the desired result. Sometimes turnovers are a little bit of a dice roll. Do you feel like this team is relying on those turnovers in this? Because that was a big determining factor in the first matchup.
I don't think they're relying on it necessarily. I know that, by rule, or at least by analysis, turnovers are a randomized stat, right? Theoretically. But do you know that Oklahoma has beat Alabama 5 times in the regular season? They've never lost in the regular season in Oklahoma-Alabama history, right? In those 5 wins, 4 of them, Oklahoma had a defensive touchdown in them. So, when you start talking about, hey, this is random, it's random, but man, it sure seems to happen a lot. You know what I mean? So I think Brent would tell you, yeah, turnovers are random. You need luck. But if you continue to put the quarterback in uncomfortable positions, if you continue to punch at the ball, if you continue to jump routes that are coming, if you continue to put your helmet on the ball when you're tackling running backs, or if you're catching a quarterback from a blind side, like those are all things. It sure helps you get lucky. Right? You get that many more bites at the apple. We saw it with Joey Aguilar with Tennessee. They brought it so much pressure that eventually he just came down to just arm punts. He was just throwing pop-ups to the safeties because he's like, I don't have time. I'm getting pressure in my face. I need to let this thing rip. So, as you've been able to see that with Oklahoma, like he plays and coaches with such a just chaotic style. You can't get comfortable, and that's when you start making mistakes. That being said, if I had to take if you set the turnovers at over 2.5, or if you set the number at 2.5, I'm probably betting the under that Oklahoma forces less than 2.5 turnovers, because again, it's a lot to try and rely on. But I think it helps a lot that Brent Venables is going to force the ball into the air. Alabama, they're gonna not run the ball well, just like they have all year. The more you put the ball in the air, hey, that's ball in danger right there. So I think where Brent's coming from, I think the addition of R. Mason Thomas into this game, obviously huge. You mentioned it earlier. That's a first-team All-SEC guy, and keep in mind, this guy didn't play in 3.5 SEC games in an 8-game SEC schedule, and he made first-team All-SEC. I mean, that's pretty ridiculous. He scored, obviously, the 20-yard stiff arm, scoop and score against Tennessee, and that's the last time we've seen him. But Oklahoma returns their best pass rusher for this game in a game where Alabama was already struggling to protect Ty Simpson when this game was played in Tuscaloosa. And I'll remind everybody, this isn't an Alabama team that all of a sudden after that game kind of picked themselves off the mat and started dominating everybody. That's not at all what happened. Alabama struggled with Auburn. They got the crap beat out of them by Georgia, and the offense didn't look good at all. So, this isn't a team that all of a sudden flipped a switch and woke up. So, I'm expecting Oklahoma to to have success on defense. I'll put it that way.
Having Travis Davidson on all things OU. Make sure you guys are following along with him as we enter this game tonight and as potentially Oklahoma makes a run in the college football playoff. Travis, thanks again for joining us tonight.
Hey, I appreciate you, man. Anytime you want to talk OU, come check us out.
Yep, absolutely. We will do it. This is SEC Sunday Night live on the Chief Sports Network. We'll be right back after this.
This is SEC Sunday Night, part of the Chief Sports Network.
All right, it is 3:39 SEC Sunday Night here on the Chief Sports Network. That was Travis Davidson, OU Insider, KREF, the Ref radio station, home of the Sooner fans there in Norman. Really good insights, Craig, and great thoughts about what we're looking at from an Oklahoma perspective. We've both been high on Alabama. How do Travis's takes maybe shift the narrative a little bit? Does it move the needle for you at all in terms of how you are thinking about picking this game?
It doesn't. The other one thing that shocked me, and it shouldn't shock me, but in my head all year, I had John Mateer was a 1-year rental. And like when he talked about like Mateer and the portal, like I had to Google it again. I'm like, oh my gosh, Mateer is a junior. For whatever reason, in my head, he was a 1-year rental. Arbuckle was coming in. I did not think about that being a 2-year package.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest point for me too, because he kind of alluded to the fact that like, what if John Mateer is playing for his job? Not so much the fact that they think John Mateer would leave and go somewhere else. I think obviously he's comfortable with Arbuckle, and Oklahoma is a fantastic program. But this quarterback class in the transfer portal is about to get loaded as we continue to see quarterbacks getting in. TCU's quarterback Josh Hoover in. Just most recently, we already have Sorsby in, which we talked about with the MBG crew, and I'm sure there's going to be a few more. There have been schools who have locked down some quarterbacks. We saw the money coming in Durham, North Carolina, Bull City to keep Darian Mensah at Duke. We've seen other notable potential quarterbacks that would go into the portal, like Lenore Sellers, seemingly going to stay put. But there's still so much up in the air. And even with guys who, quote unquote, re-sign with a school, which has been the new thing, Craig, and I don't like these posts and these takes that we have re-signed for another year or highest paid receiver in the history of this school or whatever the case may be. It feels very NFL language to me in the way that we're presenting it.
Easy, grandma.
But here's the thing I would say. Unlike the NFL, when we see that, Kirk Cousins has signed a new deal with whatever team or re-signed with the team they're playing for. Patrick Mahomes signs new deal with extension with the Chiefs. These new deals or contract extensions in college don't have a lot of teeth. We've talked about this time and time again. So even the quarterbacks who have reportedly re-signed with their teams, how much is really holding them if somebody in the Oklahoma camp, as Eli Drinkwitz points out to us, that tampering doesn't actually exist.
Yeah.
What's keeping somebody else from coming to Norman, Oklahoma?
Well, I'm right there with you, and I think Hoover would be an excellent choice if he doesn't go to your Gamecocks, because they already got the OC, so they might as well.
I think they got quarterback figured out in Columbia. I think he's going to go somewhere. If you're Josh Hoover, that's a nice jab, by the way. But if you're Josh Hoover, why are you going somewhere with that level of competition? Josh Hoover, to me, has Texas.
I'm not saying there's competition.
Or,
what I'm saying is if he went to the Gamecocks, which I'm just more poking at you than I'm saying like no that's doubt. The case. He would be going because Sellers isn't there. He's not going there for competition.
Look out for Indiana and Texas Tech in that race.
Yeah, I think Norman would make sense for Hoover, because I think this was the biggest question we had with John Mateer and Ben Arbuckle going into the season. I remember way back when we did our spreadsheet picks, still waiting to hear what my final numbers were. But we wondered about how does Ben Arbuckle and John Mateer transfer from the 2-pack out in Washington State to the SEC. And it looked good. I mean, they came out like a house on fire. Mateer breaks his hand and now they're struggling to score 17 points. They're struggling to go over 250 yards. So yes, I hear a lot of things from Travis about Oklahoma's defense and about how good they are. What I'm more concerned about and what I'm more worried about is where are the points going to come from Oklahoma? Because, the other thing that he brought up, he's like, well, Alabama may try to run the ball. Why? They know that they're not going to win the ball. They know that they're going to have to throw it in order to run. So what I'm going to see is you're going to see the quick game get out there early. But if I'm Alabama, I'm taking a couple of deep shots early because Oklahoma has shown that they can be exposed, especially deep. If you get there early, you catch Oklahoma on their toes, maybe that's going to put that defense in flux. And I do not like the Oklahoma Sooners having to play from behind tonight.
Here's what I'll push back on a little bit, but actually kind of reinforce your point by pushing back on it. I don't even know that before the hand injury that we can say a lot of great things about this Oklahoma offense. 35-3 over Illinois State. Toss that one out, okay? Then 24 points against Michigan. Okay, it seems that mid-20s range is their bread and butter. That's where they're going to live.
Yep.
Then they scored 42 against Temple. First year under a new head coach. I'm tossing that one too. 24 points against Auburn. Auburn's defense was still sort of intact. That was actually a ranked matchup, believe it or not, at that point.
I remember that game.
44-0 against Kent State. Tossing that one. Only 6 points against Texas. 26 points in Columbia against South Carolina. Again, there in the mid-20s. 26 points against Ole Miss. 33 against the Tennessee defense that was perhaps one of the worst in the league and fired Tim Banks. 23 points against Alabama, again mid-20s. 17 points against Missouri, and then 17 points at the end of the year against LSU. I'm failing to see where they've really ever been explosive under John Mateer, except against competition like Kent State and Temple and Illinois State. In the other games, you're looking at a mid-20s type of game. I think if Alabama gets to 24 in this game, that might be the ball game.
That might be, but if Mateer, and this is the big if, right? He's going to have to be able to throw the ball. He's also going to have to be able to use his legs, but he can't be the gunslinger. He cannot give Alabama free opportunities. And that's one point that I'll look at with Travis. I think the team that with the fewest turnovers tonight wins, and especially if Alabama or Oklahoma get an early turnover, it's going to put some questions in their head.
It's an interesting discussion about the turnovers because Travis really highlighted the fact that in 5 all-time matchups against Alabama, which really, I guess the last 2 are these similar programs. But if you want to go beyond that, we're really reaching to make this point a little bit. But in all 5 matchups, Oklahoma has won. In 4 out of the 5, Oklahoma has scored a defensive touchdown. It is the recipe for success for anybody, but definitely for this Oklahoma team. The question is, can they get Ty Simpson and this Alabama offense to cough it up? I don't know that you're going to see Ty Simpson be rattled on the level. Venables has to get to him in order to shake him up, to have him turning the ball over, or you're going to need some of these playmakers to get a little loose with the football, which I think is probably the more likely scenario if you're trying to force turnovers against Alabama. Speaking of Alabama, we had a chance to talk with Clint Lamb, and I want to give us a chance to jump over and check that out right after this break. This is SEC Sunday Night, 3:47 on a Friday. As we
You're pretty close, by the way, keeping us on track. You said 3:45.
I'm all over it. It's the first round of the college football playoff. This is SEC Sunday Night. We'll be right back with Clint Lamb of Cover Crimson.
When playing sports, you want a coach that will fight for you. At Hewitt Diamaduros Law Firm, we've got your back. Whether it's personal injury, insurance disputes, negligence, or wrongful death, our team delivers exceptional legal services that makes meaningful difference in the lives of the individuals and families we work for. Visit hdlawsc.com. hdlawsc.com. Hewitt Diamaduros, we're on your team.
Oh, man, the building is on fire.
Emergencies and accidents happen. When you're in the middle of a fire or water event, all you want is for things to return to normal as soon as possible. Resto Pros of the Midlands is with you, guiding you through the process and working with you to get your home or office back in working order. They'll answer your questions, discuss procedures, and can act as your advocate when it comes to processing your insurance claim. Resto Pros Midlands SC.com. Open 24/7 when you need them. Quality that is guaranteed.
At TriFit Physical Therapy and Performance, we believe true health and peak performance start with personalized care. Whether you're an athlete recovering from injury or just chasing your next personal best, we're here to guide your journey. With expert coaching, hands-on therapy, and transparent cash-based pricing, you get the care you need without the insurance red tape. One client drove 100 miles just to see us and said it was worth every mile. Contact us at trifitperformance.com or 803-353-5619. TriFit Physical Therapy and Performance, where recovery meets results.
Yo, what's up?
Baby, let's go!
This is SEC, Sunday night on the Chief Sports Network.
Welcome back to a special edition of SEC Sunday Night Live on the Chief Sports Network. As always, we are proudly presented by Hewitt Delmaduros Law, HD Law, SC.com. And we are here on a Friday, not a Sunday night, but a Friday because we have SEC football being played tonight. Clint Lamb of Cover Crimson is with us to discuss the Tide. Clint, I'll just let you know right off the rip so that we're not hiding anything here. Craig and I both picked Alabama to win this game. We're both very confident in what they can do heading back to Norman for a second time. You tell us, though, as we jump in, first of all, Merry Christmas, happy holidays to you and your family, and looking forward to an incredible 5-team display from the SEC in the college football playoff. But here in the first round, we're guaranteed to lose one of those SEC teams as we have this matchup between the Tide and the Sooners. The first thing that I see is that obviously glaring the last matchup, you had some uncharacteristic turnovers. When the turnovers had not been present, Alabama has won football games this year. What gives you confidence going into this game tonight that Kalen DeBoer and company are in a different headspace maybe than what they were last time heading into Norman?
Well, first of all, I think they're pretty good when they've had time to prepare, like multiple weeks. Oklahoma had a couple of weeks to prepare the first time around, but Alabama didn't. They were coming off of a tough game against LSU. And granted, when you give Brent Venables a lot of time, he's going to present some challenges. And this time around, it's on the road. It's not at home. So not only do you have Brent Venables and that vaunted defense, you also have that home field advantage adding to it and creating a lot of chaos and problems for Alabama's offense. But with that being said, I think Alabama's offense getting a little bit more healthy than we've seen in the last few weeks. I think that's going to play a pretty important part. I think that Alabama, when you look at what they did, which was very, very surprising to me, but their ability to run the football, I thought they had one of their better rushing performances against Oklahoma's defense, which I wasn't anticipating at all. Now, granted, it wasn't a great rushing performance, but I'm saying when you looked at what they present from a run-stopping perspective and Alabama's inability to run the football, that was one of those where it's like, man, if they could average 2 yards a carry, it's not great, but you'd take it at this point. And yet they actually had a little bit of success. They avoided negative run yardage or run down situations. That kind of allowed them to have some success offensively. You've just got to figure out a way to avoid turnovers offensively. And if you can, special teams, defense, in particular, figure out a way to maybe force a couple, at least one or two, which I think John Mateer, he will give you some opportunities. He gave Alabama opportunities in the first matchup. Alabama just didn't take advantage or capitalize on that and give Oklahoma's defense a lot of credit because it's not just Alabama having these uncharacteristic turnovers. Oklahoma's got to do something to force those. And they were playing with their hair on fire. They were ready to play. And actually, Alabama put the football on the ground multiple times that Oklahoma didn't recover it. So, they
got the football out and presented a lot of problems. It's going to be a difficult test, but I think the offense, if they can get Jam Miller back and they can run the football, somewhat effectively, and then as far as having a couple of weeks to prepare, I've kind of told people I would like to see them maybe go tempo a little bit. It hadn't been what Alabama has done at all, but as far as the problems pre and post snap that Oklahoma's defense presents Ty Simpson, and the fact that he wasn't processing the information, or really hasn't been, whether it be against Oklahoma, Auburn, or Georgia, if you could maybe, eliminate some of those where they don't have as many opportunities to present the different pictures or disguise pressure or do all those things, then I think that can maybe help Alabama. So having a couple of weeks to prepare, if they were to implement some sort of game plan like that, they would have had time to adjust a little bit. Like I said, they haven't been that offense all year, but I think you got to kind of throw a curveball a little bit at Oklahoma. And, I would fully expect, I don't know if that'll be it, but I fully expect them to throw at least one or two, especially early on in this football game.
And I think that is the key. If you look at Alabama, they've had a hiccup, right, in the season. I think national media has, jumped on, oh my gosh, the sky is falling with Alabama. But this team is still pretty damn good. I cover the Georgia Bulldogs. Yes, we won in Atlanta, but I've seen the good of Ty Simpson in Alabama go well. Is it as simple? I mean, is there anything that you saw change that we saw the hiccup with Ty Simpson? Because I mean, if you looked at midseason, Ty Simpson was that high. I mean, I had him as a Heisman front runner, but then all of a sudden it just seemed to go away. And I'm not going to blame the running game. The running game really has not been a factor for most of the season.
I do think that has played a little bit of a part. I think over the course of the season, like in that first matchup against Georgia, you would think in a Kalen DeBoer-led offense, and especially based off of what Ty had just done against Louisiana Monroe and Wisconsin, I'm not saying that they were expecting him to, it's going to be different against Georgia, and everybody knows that, but you would expect in the Kalen DeBoer, Ryan Grubb offense for them to be able to attack you vertically. That's what you saw Michael Penix do at Washington quite a bit. And so you thought that they were going to have a much more consistent vertical passing game. You thought, with Jam Miller coming back to that point, they hadn't really, Alabama's run game. They had talked all offseason about the importance of Jam Miller being that top back. And so, I think Kirby was like, okay, they're probably going to be able to run the football more effectively than they have been up to this point. And they still had the threat of the vertical passing game. Once, teams or defenses started figuring out that vertical passing game was really, to some extent, inconsistent, but also in other ways non-existent. I think they've been able to hone in that, on top of the fact that defenses have now realized Alabama just cannot run the football. Getting Jam Miller back, it did help for a little while. I thought they ran it pretty well against Vanderbilt and against Missouri. And I thought against Georgia, they had a couple of decent moments. It was not great by any means, and certainly not in the second one, but in the first matchup. But then, of course, the concussion against Missouri, then he gets put out, comes back. The run game's very, non-existent. And then against Auburn, he really starts to pick it up again a little bit, and he's having some success early. And then, of course, he gets injured once again. So I think as defenses have been able to kind of hone in on the fact that Alabama is very limited offensively, which, given the talent that they have, you wouldn't have really thought that to the extent that we've seen. They've been able to, put a lot of emphasis towards stopping the short to intermediate passing game. They understand as far as play action, they don't really give that a whole. The Alabama will try to run the football, but when you can commit limited numbers to the box and still effectively stop the run, as far as anything the play action is really going to give you, it's very limited. So that hadn't really been great. The wide receivers have been very inconsistent from a catching the football perspective. It's just, I do think that how defenses have won, it's become a little bit easier. With all that being said, there's still pieces here where they can make something work. It's not going to be great against Oklahoma. I'm not expecting them to come out and put up 30 points. I think if you can get to 24, 27, that would be absolutely incredible, especially on the road. Maybe you would need a defensive touchdown or a special teams touchdown, or at least, some sort of turnover to kind of aid you and put you in a scoring position, much in the same way that Oklahoma and Georgia did for their offenses. If Alabama could do something like that, then I could see them getting up there in the high 20s. But I just think at this point, they need to kind of embrace the fact that, despite the fact that this is an offensive-minded head coach and a staff that we all thought it would lean a little offense, it's been more so defensive-driven. And so they need to probably lean into that and continue to try to do things they can to position their defense to be successful. Because if you can do that, then I think you'll be able to, get a victory. But that's easier said than done.
And to that point, I think
as we're looking at this, I'm curious to know your thoughts on what the best matchup is for Alabama, because as you said, there's been some inconsistencies with this wide receiving core, but you still have dynamic athletes who are proven at the wide receiver position and at times a questionable secondary for Oklahoma. We've seen them be exposed over the course of the season, but at the same time, in order to throw the football vertically, you still have to deal with that front seven from Oklahoma's defense. So there's kind of a conflicting matchup there. On the flip side, Alabama's defense against the streaky John Mateer may present an advantage as well. If you're looking across the entirety of the game, is there one matchup that you're looking at between one position group and another where you say Alabama has a decided advantage and this is where they need to really have their bread and butter all night long in Norman?
Well, I think, Oklahoma's secondary it's good. It's not great in my opinion. It's not the strength of that defense. It's really the first two levels. Kip Lewis is a fantastic linebacker. They got multiple guys on the interior, a rotation, very strong at the point of attack, can anchor, can hold up against the run, also can generate some pass rush. Getting R. Mason Thomas back is going to bolster what has already been even with him being out, a really good group of edge rushers for Oklahoma. Like, they got dudes all across the board up front, but in the secondary, they have they're susceptible. You've got to give Ty Simpson time to be able to take advantage of that. I do think that Alabama's wide receivers, yes, the drops have been a problem, particularly for Ron Williams. Now, granted, you saw drops from Isaiah Horton, which was kind of uncharacteristic, and Jeremy Bernard, he had an opportunity for a catch in the back corner of the end zone against Georgia. Wasn't able to bring it in. That was kind of uncharacteristic, but Jeremy Bernard, he has not been 100%, and he hadn't been 100% for the last few games. I think him having some time off, it wasn't anything that was super limiting, but I think he's been operating probably around 80%, if I had to guess, 75, 80%. Having, the time off that they've had, hopefully he's back to being kind of the Jeremy Bernard. They need to be a little bit more strategic in how they deploy him. I think, you can key in on some things defensively with, if they put him in the backfield, he's probably getting the football. On jets, he's probably getting the football. I would like to see them play off of some of those things a little bit. But I think that their wide receiver room, the fact that it is going to be a lot closer to 100% healthy than it has been in quite some time, because they've been dealing with injuries all season. Lottie Brooks early in the year, Isaiah Horton to start the season. Derek Meadows ended up missing time due to a concussion that he suffered against Missouri. Like, they've had guys in and out of the lineup pretty much all year. Still had a deep group and still had a successful unit overall. But having them close to 100% healthy, I think that is an advantage for Alabama. But you've got to be able to get the needed time for Ty Simpson to operate, and Ty Simpson's got to get back to hitting some of those routine throws that he was making early in the season, like against Georgia, that first matchup. He made some throws when he's able to anticipate what coverage you're in or what you're doing defensively, and he has a plan. He can operate that plan with a lot of success. It's been since they've started kind of speeding him up a little bit with pressure and then presenting the different pictures, that's kind of caused him some issues. So I think if they can do some of those things, the wide receivers can have some success against Oklahoma's secondary. But once again, that's easier said than done, I guess.
But one question, I want to flip it a little bit. John Mateer, I think, would love any semblance of a running game, because I think Oklahoma's running game has been worse than just about anybody's. Alabama did a really good job, I think, containing that Oklahoma offense. I think they held about 250-some yards during that first match. It was not a defensive problem. What is it about John Mateer or that Oklahoma offense that you think is going to be keeping Kane Womack up at night at the end of the Friday?
Well, they didn't have to do a whole lot in the first game. I do want to at least acknowledge that fact. When your defense is constantly, doing what their defense was doing, and just some of the problems that Alabama has had, they made it kind of easy for Oklahoma's offense to continuously put points on the board without having to move the football. I would love to see what Alabama's defense could do and how they'd hold up if you did make Oklahoma consistently drive the length of the field. I think there would be some problems there. Mateer, just mechanically, he's all over the place. Just his lower body is a complete mess. He plays backyard football a lot. And like I said before, he will give you opportunities. There's at least a couple of times a game where it's a turnover-worthy play. And there's one in particular where Jan Zapier, Alabama's, weak side boundary edge drops into the flats. Ball would have hit him right in the chest had Tim Keenan not got a hand on it and knocked it down. It's just one of those things where Tim Keenan's trying to make a play, doesn't realize what's going on behind him, but that's potentially a pick six. And with, how Alabama lost, they might have won the football game based off of that one play, just generating one turnover. And so Mateer had a couple of those in that football game, and Alabama just didn't capitalize. I do have respect for Mateer's legs, and I do think that in this type of game, they're probably, especially at home, going to just embrace, hey, let's make this a defensive battle. We trust our defense with this hostile environment, at our backs. Let's, use Mateer's legs. They have no problem using the quarterback's legs. They proved it last year with Jackson Arnold against Alabama. In that first half, they had a lot of success, completely caught Alabama off guard. I could see them doing something similar with that +1 in the run game, trying to run the football. Don't know if they'll have a lot of success. I think their offensive line struggles to generate consistent movement off the line of scrimmage. But if they can do some of that, then I think the passing game for them will open up a little bit. Alabama's got to make sure that they force them to be as one-dimensional as possible, because if you give or you force the game on a Mateer's arm, I think you'll get those couple of opportunities that he's been pretty consistently delivering.
There you have it. That is Clint Lamb with Cover Crimson here with us on SEC Sunday night on a Friday. Clint, thanks so much for joining us, giving us so many things to look out for in the matchup between Alabama and Oklahoma.
Absolutely, guys. I appreciate you having me on. Hopefully it's a good game.
Absolutely. And I think all three of us are picking the same team. So we'll see how it ends up. It's an all SEC Friday night, and this is SEC Sunday night live on the Chief Sports Network. We'll be right back after this.
OTC is go. Packet go. PTC is go. LPS is go. Houston flight is go. Pilot go. FTM is go. Safety comms is go. FTE is go. LRD is go. SRO is go. CDI is go. Launch director, NTD, our launch team is ready to proceed at this time.
It's SEC Sunday night, presented by Hewitt Diamodoris. Visit hdlawsc.com. It's go time.
Welcome back to our final segment here on SEC Sunday night on a Friday, live on the Chief Sports Network and proudly presented by Hewitt Diamodoris Law. Craig, we had a nice bit there from Clint Lamb from Cover Crimson as he gives us some insights into the Alabama football program and really broke down, I thought, did a great job of looking at specific matchups that we should be watching for tonight. I don't know about you. Here's one thing I'll say before we move into our last segment.
Sure.
There are a lot of new listeners and viewers that are with us today, I'm sure. And we had this conversation a long time ago, and we see 15 to 20,000 people in here every week. And so I know that there are new ears to hear these words. But the premier way to watch any football game is the Command Center viewpoint. So when you watch tonight, let's just hope and pray that ESPN for this game and the noon game tomorrow gives us Command Center. And while you're in Command Center and you can see basic statistics, a one-liner replay of the last play, you're going to get the normal sideline view and the aerial view looking vertically down the field so you can see holes and things open up along the line of scrimmage, routes developing down the field. You can look at those matchups that Clint just pointed out to us, and you'll be able to see how those things are unfolding right there for you. Command Center, it cannot be topped. All right, here we're gonna
no. You don't get to talk about Command Center if I don't get to have my annual plug to bring back the Coach's Watch show. Gary Patterson isn't doing anything. Mike Gundy isn't doing anything. Bring those guys back. Yeah, bring in Sark. Hey, Pete Kwiatkowski is now out at Texas as the defensive coordinator. Bring him on the show. Let's break this game down because I don't want to see Pat blabber on about nothing. Him and Nick Saban like to, they're all buddy on their shows. I don't want that crap. Give me Kirk. Give me Chris. Give me 7 o'clock tonight. Kick from Oklahoma. I'm ready.
Yeah, that 8 o'clock kick is going to be fantastic. In Norman, Oklahoma. Look, I love those formats as well. When you have people sitting around, kind of like us, right? You're just sitting on a nice, comfortable chair. You're watching the game. You can kind of talk about it a little more freely. This is why I like the Manning cast on Monday Night Football as opposed to the traditional broadcast. No shade at any of these broadcasters that are in these premier matchups because they do a phenomenal job. They didn't get there by being
hard.
bad at their job. They do a fantastic job, but the perspective of coaches and or players who have the freedom to be a little more relaxed and sit back, I just love that. Command Center, though, definitely the way to go. All right, time for our final segment today as we wind things down, and we're going to do a little shout out to The Last Word. Craig and I years ago got our start at Last Word, and we used to have on our old show a segment called Last Word every week as just a tip of the cap to remind ourselves where we came from and how we got to this place today. And so, Craig, it is time for our last word today. Let me begin by saying this. We have a jam-packed morning tomorrow.
Yep.
We've got Emily Taylor. We've got Cole Kublik. We've got Memphis Spence. We've got a full hour with Joy, the SEC Pretty Hour. We've got a lot happening. We will be recapping Oklahoma and Alabama. We'll be looking at Texas A&M, Miami, Ole Miss, Tulane, even Oregon and JMU. It is college football playoff round 1, and we are consumed, as you should be consumed. And so we're excited about that, Craig. As we look at this matchup tonight, an all SEC first round, isolated on Friday night, no competition. This is where all the eyeballs go. What is the last word for you as you look at this game and as we look forward to seeing who can get it done?
Roll, damn, Tide. It's time for Alabama to remember that they are Alabama and that the team that Nick Saban built, go for it on 4th down. Do not play conservative. Go after it. Go for the jugular. Go big early, as I said. Hit a couple of shot plays early. Put Oklahoma in catch-up mode and just take the crowd right out of it. Do not give Oklahoma the chance.
Yeah, that is honestly the biggest thing that I would be concerned with. As you can see behind me, Gaylord Family Stadium.
Oh, you're in Norman?
Looks jam-packed and ready for a night kickoff, doesn't it?
Yep.
Those fans are going to be ready. It's been a while since they've been in this moment, right? They are hungry and ready to prove themselves in the SEC. And in year 2, in the greatest conference in all of college football, the greatest sport on the planet, they have an opportunity to go out and make a huge statement right here. This is not just a conference matchup. This is a college football playoff game. So you have an opportunity to go against the most dominant program in recent history in the sport. You have an opportunity to go up against a conference opponent on national television against no other premier games, and you get an opportunity to win and advance. I'm still picking Alabama because there's some things about Oklahoma's offense that give me a lot of pause.
Mm-hmm.
I trust Ty Simpson more than I trust John Mateer at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of them can really get it going on the ground from a back standpoint. So it really comes down to those quarterbacks, or does it come down to the defenses? If we have a weird score here, Craig, Alabama's going down. That is the X factor for me. Not just turnovers, but what are the points off of turnovers? So defensive and special teams touchdowns or turnovers that are essentially assists to scores. If we have a turnover inside of field goal range, then you're going to get easy points off those turnovers. I'm counting that, okay? So anything in that category is a bad sign for Alabama. But as our good friend J.C. Sherbert always says here on the Chief Sports Network and in any platform that he speaks in, predictions are difficult to make because there are so many scenarios that can happen in a football game to sway it in one direction or another. This game, maybe not as many scenarios as that Texas A&M Miami game will give us tomorrow, but a handful of scenarios. You're right. Who puts their foot on the throat early? Who grabs the momentum? What happens in the middle 8? It'll all be happening right here in the SEC tonight. And we'll be back tomorrow to talk about it with you. This has been SEC Sunday Night live on the Chief Sports Network on a Friday, brought to you by Hewitt Maderos Law. And we'll be back with you at 8 a.m. Eastern. So wake up, grab your coffee. We'll see you in the morning.